Chapter 521. New Medical Ninja Tool. What kind of medical ninja tool is this? At this moment, in Nuota's medical room, many medical ninjas opened their mouths. Naturally, they have never seen it before, and now there is such a convenient, medical ninja tool. The people around, they looked at Gong Yi, and at the medical talisman that was attached to the injured person. Could this be the new talisman ninja tool developed by Hokage-sama again? Although every medical ninja did not ask much, but his heart was constantly thinking. Okay, I know you'll have questions about what this is. Looking at these medical ninjas, Gong Yi said with some amusing, now you are treating the wounded well, and then Director Tsunade will naturally inform you and the entire Konoha village. Gong Yi said, and his whole body also immediately. Dodge and leave, basically there is no use for yourself here. Now that the medical amulet has been researched, and the experiments are all perfect. Then Gong Yi, he is going to let Tsunade form a medical team alone to mass-produce this thing. Today, taking advantage of the rare spare time, he and Tsunade settled the matter. And then as the plot starts again, I don't have that much time. He knocked on the door and entered Tsunade's office. Lord Hokage, why are you here? Looking up to see Gong Yi, Tsunade closed the medical record in his hand. Sir Hokage. Gong Yi listened to Tsunade's sudden change of words, and smiled a little uncomfortable. Tsunade teacher, you should still call me Gong Yi. All right. Cough, then Gong Yi, why do you have time to come here? Clenching his fist and placing his hand in front of his mouth, Tsunade responded with a light cough. Returning to Konoha village, Tsunade felt a lot more forthright. Obviously, it is only here that she can truly let go of herself. Come here, naturally there is something looking for you. Gong Yi shrugged and sat in front of Tsunade. What's the matter? Hearing that something really happened to Gong Yi, Tsunade's eyes filled with disappointment. A bit complicated and a bit confusing. Of course, at this moment of strangeness, Tsunade quickly suppressed it. Medical charm. Hearing this, Gong Yi responded indifferently to Tsunade, it's about the medical talisman. Medical talisman, have you made a breakthrough? Tsunade's eyes lit up, and the whole person came to a lot of interest. The medical talisman, Gong Yi has discussed with her before. Tsunade is also very concerned about. This can benefit Konoha village shinobi. She even tried it once, and of course it failed. The various principles of this thing sound really easy. But when it is really done, there are many other situations that will arise. So, it is not very easy to make it. And now Tsunade, hearing that Gong Yi suddenly found herself for this matter, her first reaction should be that the medical talisman has made a breakthrough in the first step. This is not easy. Well, there is indeed a breakthrough. Gong Yi nodded and answered Tsunade. Tsunade regained her senses. She suppressed her thoughts and smiled and said, that's great. This is a successful first step, and it's a good start. Sure enough, seeing Gong Yi nodding, Tsunade looked overjoyed. Now, she is obviously very concerned about the development and construction of Konoha village. Especially Gong Yi-chung. After Hokage, then the meaning is even more different. Actually Tsunade-sensei, it's not even the beginning. Seeing Tsunade seems to want to have encouragement. His own appearance, Gong Yi quickly said, it should be said that it is completely over. You bastard, what does that mean? Wait, Gong Yi speaks again, Tsunade immediately. Tukao Gong Yi, are you kidding me? Of course it's not a joke. In simple terms, the end means. The medical amulet has been thoroughly researched. Looking at Tsunade who was a little impatient, Gong Yi said with a helpless smile. Tsunade seemed to have heard it wrong, looked at Gong Yi again and asked, what did you just say that the medical amulet has been thoroughly researched? Sitting across from Tsunade, Gong Yi nodded again. Well, it is true to say that, and I just tested it in a simple way, and the effect is good. It's only been so long, You actually created it. Tsunade's eyes widened, and his face was filled with disbelief. Believe. She knows Gong Yi, who is very talented in research. But she never imagined that this medical talisman was made by Gong Yi in such a short period of time. Looking at Gong Yi's appearance, Tsunade knew that he was not joking with himself. Well, Tsunade knew Gong Yi too well, and he must have chosen to tell himself after he was quite sure. Especially since he has now become Konoha's fifth Hokage, it is impossible to joke about the life of a ninja. Now it's easy to think that Tsunade doesn't know, Gong Yi seems to have really succeeded. I really can't believe that this new type of medical ninja tool has been researched by you so quickly. It's not too fast, but it can finally be developed, and it's a good ending. Gong Yi didn't show the slightest bit of pride, and he didn't even show a little bit of pride. A thing still can't make him show that kind of expression. Now that I am here today, I also want to tell you this. If it is finally determined that there is no accident, I will immediately decided to go into production and then start shipping. No more nonsense. Gong Yi looked serious, looked at Tsunade and said, "Is it a little too fast?" When Tsunade heard Gong Yi finish speaking, she also expressed her concern bluntly. As for the relationship between the two, Tsunade naturally did not always choose to obey. She is basically the same as Nara Shikaku and others, and some ideas naturally come up easily. Gong Yi naturally knows it, and his advice is hard to listen to, so he will always take advice. After all, it is good, he thinks there is nothing wrong, and it will naturally merge into it. At this time, when Tsunade finished speaking, Gong Yi shook his head. It's getting late, it's already very late, everyday ninjas are sacrificed, the tasks of our Konoha village are constantly increasing, and the death rate is also skyrocketing. It might be faster. Gong Yi can't wait any longer now. The next fourth ninja war is coming. Everything that I have arranged by myself is naturally prepared for later. So now, there is no time to wait any longer. Of course, what Gong Yi just said is not a lie. Chapter 522. The second round of reforms. As night fell, the sky was full of stars, and they were shining brightly. It seemed that the dawn of Akatsuki had broken again, and the sky had gradually been replaced by a dazzling light. With warm sunshine, it slowly shines to the entire ninja continent. It's the constant alternation of day and night that makes time go by so fast. Konoha Village. A month later, new reforms are here again. All the ninjas were excited, and each of them had excitement on their faces. Medical Talisman was officially launched. When Gong Yi talked to Tsunade last time, the healing talisman had already started to be manufactured. Now with the continuous mass production, and the efficiency of Tsunade, the medical amulet has been vigorously promoted and known by everyone. This is not a powerful weapon, but it drives all ninjas crazy. In their eyes, it's not a talisman, it's more like their life. With the popularization of ninja medical science, every ninja naturally knows that its effect has a very big effect on performing tasks outside. Everyone cheers. After Gong Yi released low-level ninjutsu to comprehensively enhance the power of ninjas, this second reform has been pushed to the top again. Everyone's respect for Gong Yi, they are no longer simply in awe and worship. Everyone naturally knows that the research and development of medical amulet is all done by the fifth generation Hokage Gong Yi. It is because of this that Gong Yi's reputation among the ninjas has completely overflowed. Presumably Gong Yi is just let them die, almost everyone is willing to do so. Such Hokage has made everyone completely surrender. Gong Yi's effect is indeed achieved. The entire Konoha village now, invisible, has actually been completely mastered by himself. With the real launch of the medical talisman, it has indeed helped me a lot. Not only that, but the recovery of funds in Konoha village has also been accelerated a lot because of the medical amulet. Medical amulet, Gong Yi's first batch made, was sent out in full. Now every ninja in Konoha village will basically have a healing charm for free. However, in the follow-up, Gangyi naturally cannot provide it for free. The manpower and material resources to manufacture medical charms are also quite expensive. So, if you want to get it, you naturally need to pay money to buy it. But despite this, the daily sales of medical charms are still huge. Its appearance makes every ninja seem to have caught the light of life-saving. After all, the more one of it, the more it is invisible. Well, along with the medical charm, it keeps Konoha village ninjas after the real make. Basically, the production can't keep up with the sales, and it will be sold out almost every day. Seem that this kind of thing is more popular than those lethal things. Inside Hokage's office. Nara Shikaku at this moment, he has walked in. Today, he came here, naturally, to report to Gangyi about the Kumogakure village. After such a long time, the compensation from Kumogakure village has basically been in place. As for the second two-tailed Jinchuriki column force, she was also picked up by the Anbu ninja sent by Kumogakure village. So far, the war between the two villages ended with the victory of Konoha village. Yes, these materials can be fully put into the production of medical charms. And those funds, Shikaku-sensei, you can rest assured and boldly continue to expand the area of Konoha and continue to develop the village. Gangyi merged the files and said with a satisfied smile. Now with the two battles, Konoha village is making a lot of money. The entire Nuoda village was already huge, and now it has been enlarged several times by Gangyi. Looking around now, there are still many buildings around, which are being covered up little by little. Not only that, the power of the ninja is developing rapidly like sitting on a rocket. Gangyi lavishly raised war orphans, comprehensively trained spies, and all kinds of brainwashed ninjas. Now this kind of power can completely replace the real Konoha village power to accomplish some dangerous things. As for the existence of the medical talisman, the death rate of the current task is also greatly reduced, so the power of the ninja in Konoha village is very much preserved. Gangyi is confident that, according to this development, Konoha village will almost be able to unify the ninja world after the Fourth Ninja World War. Well, everything is really good now. Nara Shikaku nodded, and undeniably sighed. Hokage-sama, since you took office, the development of Konoha village has indeed been very rapid. Hehe, Shikaku-sensei, don't have to worry, it's all just the beginning. Gangyi's face. Wrong smiled, he looked at Nara Shikaku and said. Is this just the beginning? This, Nara Shikaku was taken aback for a moment, but then he shook his head with a helpless smile. Gangyi is indeed very ambitious, and since Nara Shikaku has been by his side for so long, he naturally knew it for a long time. But looking at it this way today, Nara Shikaku has clearly understood that he still underestimated Gangyi. His thoughts, it seems, are not what he thought at all, because they should be higher. Soon, Nara Shikaku also came back to his senses, as if he was thinking of something, looked at Gangyi again and said, "Oh yes, they've been talking about this all the time, and I almost forgot another thing." "What's the matter?" "It's about Orochimaru. Now the sound hidden village he built seems to have collapsed, but I heard the ninjas in the periphery reporting that they have few ninjas left, and they seem to be on the move again. I don't know if there will be another one. What's the plan?" One small thing that Nara Shikaku dared not say when it comes to Orochimaru. Last, Konoha crash plan. The incident made him a little afraid of Orochimaru. After all, even 4 generations of Kazekage and 3 generations of Hokage died in that plan. Konoha village is now in a period of thriving development, and Gangyi's safety is also a top priority. Although he is very powerful, Nara Shikaku naturally dare not take it lightly. Orochimaru, he can't make any waves. When Gangyi heard Nara Shikaku finish, he shook his head and smiled. Now Nara Shikaku may not know, but Gangyi is somewhat clear. Seems that Orochimaru has already ignored it and started to come to Konoha village to take Sasuke away. At the beginning, he had his own intervention, but his talisman was not planted, and he also failed to guide him successfully. And this time, it is estimated that because of his hands, Orochimaru had to bite Kiba, ready to risk the situation of turning his face with Gongyi, to guide Sasuke, to become his most perfect container. Chapter 523. Orochimaru hooked. But at the moment Gongyi, he doesn't care much anymore. He wasn't afraid of Orochimaru, so he came and took Sasuke away. Gongyi was afraid that Orochimaru would be afraid of him, so he gave up Sasuke. My previous arrangements will be wasted in vain. Fortunately, everything went as it should, and there was no deviation of any kind. Although I have destroyed the plot again and again, it seems that I have been forcibly corrected. Although Orochimaru has his hands sealed by 3 generations, I feel that his harm is still not small. I suggest continuing to track him down and catch him as soon as possible. This is the safest way. Nara Shikaku is still Hokage's advisor after all, and he still thinks very comprehensively now. Gongyi's plan, he doesn't know now, so Gongyi's attitude makes him feel that this is careless. So at this time, his role also appeared, naturally acting as a wake-up call. Hihi, Shikaku-sensei, I naturally know that Orochimaru will not give you peace of mind. But with what I know about him, it is very difficult to catch him. Gongyi naturally understood what Nara Shikaku meant, and he responded with a faint smile. But, we don't have a good solution right now. Nara Shikaku was a little helpless. Now Gongyi's words, he understands. Orochimaru is cunning by nature, and he has too many footholds. Almost every once in a while, he can switch to a position. By the time they found out and sent people to come, the building was already empty. Sunagakure village also sent people to arrest him, but unfortunately it was still unsuccessful. Especially Orochimaru, his danger is too high, and ordinary ninjas are not competent at all. But the high-level combat power in the village can't always give up the rest because of him. 1 to 2, because of this, it is really difficult to really catch Orochimaru. No, it's not that there is no good way. Gongyi shook his head, looked at Nara Shikaku and said, I already have a solution, and it looks like Orochimaru is going to take the bait. With a solution, Orochimaru is about to take the bait. Nara Shikaku was confused and didn't know what Gongyi's words meant. Is there any way Orochimaru can do it now, and how can he easily take the bait? Maybe it's the 5th generation of Hokage in front of him, and he is ready to go out and solve the problem himself. Yes, this plan is now, but you still need your cooperation from Shikaku-sensei. Gongyi's face. Rongsheng showed a faint smile. In the current situation, Gongyi naturally needs Nara Shikaku. Originally, he wanted to wait until later. But since he has said it today, he is no longer hiding. Besides, Orochimaru has already made a move, and he has decided to prepare in advance. My cooperation. Well, it's, Shikaku-sensei, your cooperation. No more nonsense. Gongyi continued to speak to Nara Shikaku. I'm ready to send Sasuke to lurking around Orochimaru to act as a spy for our Konoha village, and if there's a chance, I'll get rid of him directly. Sasuke. Nara Shikaku was completely stunned. Now that Orochimaru is so dangerous, Gongyi wants to send Sasuke to do this. No matter how fast his mind thinks, it is suddenly blank. Sasuke's strength has the help of Gongyi, although it has become much stronger. However, he is still a little immature in the face of Orochimaru, let alone kill him. Hihi, Shikaku-sensei, you may not know something about this. Time passed quickly, and Nara Shikaku's frown slowly loosened a lot. Gongyi told Nara Shikaku what he said to Sasuke before, and improved it. Basically now Nara Shikaku, he has also understood the ins and outs of this. So it is. A long time, when Gongyi finished speaking, Nara Shikaku thoughtfully said. As you said, Mr. Hokage, Sasuke is indeed the most suitable candidate. Although it's a bit risky, I think it's also a test for Sasuke. Although Nara Shikaku felt that Gang Yi's idea and plan was a bit risky, he felt that it was the only way to do it. Although Konoha village is currently developing well, I don't want to waste resources on Orochimaru all the time. And Gang Yi, who has become the 5th Hokage of Konoha village, naturally can't let go of his identity and go to Tenten to chase after Orochimaru. Besides, Gang Yi has more important things now, and he doesn't have any time to pay attention to Orochimaru at all. Such an analysis, even if Nara Shikaku felt it was inappropriate, he could only swallow those words. Because there is no other way, Gang Yi's seemingly risky plan is actually the most efficient. Thinking of this, Nara Shikaku came back to his senses. He looked at Gang Yi and asked, "Then what do I need to do now?" "So far, you don't have to do anything." Seeing that Nara Shikaku had already understood almost, Gang Yi smiled. On the Orochimaru side, I think they should be more cautious, and it is impossible to act so rashly. But Shikaku-sensei, what you need to prepare is how to send Sasuke away smoothly without causing suspicion. As if he had already thought of everything, Gang Yi pointed his finger at the table. "I will be away from Konoha village for a few days, and then you can release the news. As for Orochimaru, I think people will be dispatched while I leave. Shikaku-sensei, you just need to block them symbolically and let them go. But this degree, you can master it well. Orochimaru is cunning by nature, so don't let him doubt it." "I understand, I will arrange this matter well." Nara Shikaku nodded and answered Gang Yi happily. Now that he already knows the plan, he naturally needs to do it carefully. Indeed, as Gang Yi said, if you look at it and see it, deliberately let Sasuke go, then it is undoubtedly a sheep goes into the tiger's mouth. How could Orochimaru go to great lengths to train a spy in Konoha village? Gang Yi, naturally, that's why Nara Shikaku's cooperation is needed. He also wants to use Orochimaru's hand to let Sasuke grow as much as possible. After all, he still needs to be busy with other things, and Orochimaru, a free teacher, will educate his apprentices for him. Isn't this a very good situation and, for the sake of everything in the future, I have to make this plan a success. Chapter 524. Chess Pieces and Actions. Country of Tien. After the war between Konoha village and Kumogakure village, there is some depression here. Although it did not start a war within the territory of Tien Jiguo, its impact was also very large. The battle ended quickly because of Gang Yi's action. Therefore, here in Tien Jiguo, there is not much loss. To speak of losses, it is only the plains where the destruction is horrific. At this moment, somewhere in the country of Tien. This is a small village. It can be seen that its predecessor should be a certain ninja village. However, it has now completely decayed, and the surrounding buildings have been completely destroyed. Looking around, there is no one alive anymore, appearing here. "Lord Orochimaru, I got the news. Under the ground of the ruins of the building, here is a dark laboratory." Kabuto came here, looked at Orochimaru who was sitting in front of him, and said, "How is it?" Hearing Kabuto's voice, Orochimaru asked him with a pair of snake eyes. The location where they are now is the former site of Yinyan village. At the beginning, Orochimaru occupied the land after bribing the daimyo of the land. The former land of the land was also the main base of Orochimaru. The entire Yinyan village has not been built for a long time. But then, Konoha collapsed. Plan failed, and Orochimaru had no choice but to give up here. Of course, if he doesn't leave, the consequences he will face will also be violent storms. Their anger can be seen from the buildings destroyed by the ninjas of Sunagakure and Konoha. For everything Orochimaru did, everyone hated him. Now according to the spies, the 5th Hokage may have to leave the village of Konoha for a few days. Kabuto pushed the round-framed eyes on his face and responded to Orochimaru. "Oh, away for a few days." Little surprised, Orochimaru continued to ask, "What is he going out for?" "Well, it's still prudent in the end." After Orochimaru got the news, he didn't immediately arrange the task excitedly. Instead, he asked in detail. After all, this matter is very important, and he does not want to fail. Because this opportunity is only one time. Gong Yi knows Orochimaru well, and Orochimaru knows Gong Yi well. With his guesses, the plan to lead Sasuke out of Konoha village fails this time. Then if Gong Yi knows about it, he will definitely see Sasuke to death in an all-round way. Or it will go to his hands and feet. This case, it is impossible for me to have a chance at all. That's why Dao Dao's plan this time can only succeed, not fail. Because if it fails, this perfect container will be completely missed by itself. In that case, it is something that Orochimaru does not allow. Uchiha Itachi has absolutely no chance, and even Sasuke Uchiha can't get it because of his own mistakes. Think about it, Orochimaru is enough to regret for a lifetime. It's because the Mizukage of the village of Kurigakure has come inland. As if Kabuto knew Orochimaru would ask, immediately. Replied in detail, "I think the two of them want to discuss the matter of continuing to open mission points." This kind of news should not be wrong. Recently, Kurigakure village has indeed started to build a new mission point in another place. It's very clear after a thorough investigation, even Kabuto, he thinks it should be foolproof. Because of their plan, Gong Yi doesn't. May know. Therefore, there is no possibility to deliberately lure them to the past. At the same time, the Mizukage in Kurigakure village is indeed coming, and a new mission point is indeed under construction. So Gong Yi suddenly left Konoha village, which is actually excusable. Hehe, I never thought he would leave Konoha village to meet Mizukage in person. Orochimaru's gloomy face revealed a somewhat ironic smile. Mizukage in Kurigakure village is very charming. Kabuto shrugged, with a playful smile on his face. I heard that Hokage Gong Yi of the 5th generation may have another relationship with Mizukage of Kurigakure village. That's fine, but it's convenient for our next actions. Having gradually calmed down, Orochimaru no longer doubted. At this moment, he wants to guide Sasuke to become his own plan, only he and Kabuto know. So it's impossible for a third person to know about Akatsuki. In this way, Gong Yi, who is still busy developing in Konoha village, is even more unlikely to know. The prophetic ability of Gong Yi's master storyline, Orochimaru would never have imagined. So, he already felt foolish. Anyway, now the plan has failed, and all those who died are their own pawns. A big deal that he can't get in touch with Sasuke, and he will find another way to find a more perfect container. Contrary, if not, while Gong Yi leaves for action, if he is in Konoha village, he must rely on those chess pieces under his hand, and he cannot hide it from his eyes at all. Just entered the village of Konoha, and it is estimated that he will be caught and killed directly. Just thinking about it, Orochimaru already has a trade-off. He decided, just after Gong Yi left Konoha village, to start the official action. Thinking of this, Orochimaru looked back at Kabuto, as soon as Gong Yi leaves. Let them move near and far. Understood, Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto didn't talk too much. After hearing the command, he nodded immediately. Left. Konoha, inside the Hokage office. Shikaku, sensei, what happens next is up to you. Gong Yi, who was sitting here, looked at Nara Shikaku and said. Don't worry, Lord Hokage, everything is arranged. Nara Shikaku nodded and responded to him. Time flies so fast, and it's today after the two of them finished talking. It's been a long time. Gong Yi is about to leave Konoha village for a few days. Taking the opportunity to inspect the mission point at Kirumi-Mei, Gong Yi knew that Orochimaru would definitely send someone to take Sasuke away. So, after he finally explained Sasuke, he called Nara Shikaku over again. Just tell them to be ready at all times, and then they can start planning. Make your own layout. For a long time, if there is a problem with them, Gongyi will be very uncomfortable. Fortunately, whether it is Nara Shikaku or Uchiha Sasuke, they are very reliable. Well, if everything goes well after today, then the next thing is Gaara's there. His situation is related to the future control of Sunagakure village, so Gongyi naturally needs to pay attention. Now that Chiyo is dead, no one can cast the reincarnation spell to bring Gaara back to life. So if Akatsuki really took the tailed beast, Gaara might have really died. But since Gongyi wants to control Gaara, he indirectly controls Sunagakure village. Then he naturally has a way to prevent this from happening. Chapter 525. Yin Yin 4 people, third more. Night falls, and day comes. Above the sky, it has begun to gradually brighten. Gongyi has left Konoha village today and went to the mission point built inland in Kurigakure village alone. He did not take his subordinates, nor did he take any ninja power. Now in the entire ninja world, no one can threaten Gongyi for a long time. And Konoha village and Kurigakure village are also very good allies. Especially now that his relationship with Terumi Mei is here, so Gongyi has nothing to worry about. Well, although the defense against others is indispensable, he naturally has plans to deal with all emergencies. People are separated from each other, and the reality is quite cruel in the ninja world. Gongyi also will not trust anyone lightly. Today his main purpose is to let Orochimaru take the opportunity to take Sasuke away. Otherwise, he would not have released the news. The laboratory below Mukuro in the hidden village. Lord Orochimaru, the 5th Hokage, has left Konoha. Kabuto came to Orochimaru's eyes immediately. Reported. As a good spy, Kabuto's intelligence network is still very accurate. Of course, this is also under the circumstances that Gongyi deliberately exposed to them. Have you left? Yes, it has been confirmed. Kabuto nodded, and there was a cold glow on the lens. Okay, then let them go. Orochimaru sat there and said lightly, as soon as you catch Sasuke, immediately. Leave Konoha village and don't stay there long. I see, Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto bent down slightly, and his voice fell behind, immediately. Disappeared in place. A new day and the bustling village of Konoha is already noisy. Wide street, all the shops have opened their doors. Crowd is bustling, all of which testify to the strength of Konoha village. The clanging sound was also constantly heard around. That's on the outskirts of Konoha village, where new buildings are being built. The number of people increases, the entire Konoha village will naturally continue to expand towards the periphery. Now the funds are abundant, Gongyi is not stingy about the development of Konoha village. Less than half a year after taking office, Konoha village has undergone earth-shaking changes. Swish, swish, swish. Today, in the vibrant village of Konoha, there are several uninvited guests. The back mountain on the periphery, I saw 4 people dodging and approaching. Haha, is it really here? In a hidden cave in the back mountain. I saw Gongyi sitting there cross-legged and opened his eyes as if knowingly. The Gongyi here is the main body, and the one who left Konoha village to Terumi Mei before is the Mokuten wood-style clone of Gongyi. There was nothing too big at Terumi Mei. Gongyi thought about it and didn't go there in person. A Mokuten wood-style clone is also quite enough. And he himself chose to stay in the dark, to monitor the situation in Konoha village. Senses, Gongyi activated the Hiraishin technique, immediately. Left here. Eyes bloom. When he reappeared, Gongyi had already come to a dense jungle. I saw 4 people standing a few hundred meters away from him. They didn't notice Gongyi's presence, on the contrary they were still there, they were alerting each other around. I saw 4 of them, all of them were a little weird. One has 6 hands and one has 2 heads. And another woman and a fat man, they are quite normal compared to them. Kitamaru, Tayuya, Left near right near, Jirobo. Gongyi squinted his eyes and couldn't help but twitch his lips into a smile. Sure enough, 4 people from Yinyan village were dispatched. 4 people in Yinyan village, and Gongyi still knows something about the original novel in the early stage. They are the ninjas in the village of Orochimaru Otogakur. They belong to the very elite, and they are usually the guards who are responsible for protecting Orochimaru. Conceivable that Orochimaru is very cautious, and the guard who can reassure him is not weak. Although they are indeed weak as ants to Gongyi. In the face of the 4 of them, in the face of ordinary ninjas, it is still very difficult to resist. Even some Jonin have difficulty surviving in their hands. Hehe, Orochimaru seems to still take Sasuke very seriously. Hidden in the dark, a sarcastic smile appeared on Gongyi's face. Assigned all the guards he was most proud of this time, and it was natural to see his urgency for Sasuke. Pity that if it wasn't for him in the dark, he wanted Sasuke to go to them on purpose. Then it is estimated that even if Orochimaru came in person, he would only be able to return without success. And, in fact, normally, they should be the 5 members of the Yinyan 5. After all, there should have been another Kimimaro, who was also captured by Orochimaru. Unfortunately, with his intervention, he has long since become his loyal disciple. So now, it is impossible to have Kimimaro, and stop the enemy for them. This is also the reason why Gongyi specifically explained to Nara Shikaku before. If it wasn't for letting them go on purpose, the current Anbu would be enough to catch them all. After all, without Kimimaro, they would be missing a super battle force. But fortunately, Gongyi is currently pushing behind. Even without Kimimaro's help, it's not a big problem. Hehe, I didn't expect to sneak in so easily. Gatongmaru, the most unstable of the 4, looked around and said. I said you shouldn't be careless now. Konoha's 5th Hokage is scary after all. Don't forget, our real goal today. A thick voice came out. The only woman among the 4 people, Tayuya said with fear. Orochimaru had told them before, not to be too presumptuous in Konoha village. After all, no one knows whether Gongyi has left behind. If he was discovered by him, it would be better to say that his elite subordinates would lose. But if his most perfect container is lost, it will make him feel very angry. So before the 4 of them left, Orochimaru also specially warned them. Then act quickly and don't waste time here. Left and right faces were indifferent, and he did not show any expression, just said coldly. Quote. Jirobo, who was standing at the very edge, saw the 3 people talking. He just nodded and didn't say anything. Time is fast. When the 4 of them made a simple plan, they immediately scattered around and entered the Konoha village. They are not sure about Sasuke's location, they can only start their own search. As they thought Gongyi had left, there wasn't much tension inside the village. Chapter 526. New Ninja Training Ground. Bang, 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 one after another shuriken, all hit the bullseye. Sasuke with a cold face, he is now in a ninja training ground. Such new ninja training grounds in Konoha village, big and small. It was specially built by Gongyi after he took office for 5 generations of Hokage. There are many special puppets in it, which can practice taijutsu and ninjutsu. There is also such a target that can train shuriken and kunai. Put it bluntly, it is also a benefit to the ninjas of Konoha village. With such a place, all ninjas can have fixed training points. After all, it is really very, very troublesome for Tenten to run to the periphery and the back mountain. And more damage to ecological resources, so that later development will lose a lot. I finally found him. But this guy, has it become a little tricky? Jirobo stood on an eaves and quietly watched the training ground ahead. Then wait for the moment, we wait until the night is in action. Kidomaru's expression didn't change, and his eyes also looked at Sasuke. Wait till night. Duoyu also showed a touch of disdain, and looked at the others from the corner of the light. just rely on you, there must be no drama now. My words, I can easily catch him now and bring him to Orochimaru-sama. It seems that she is a little self-confident, and Duoyu doesn't look down on the others at all. Huh, is it? After he heard Duoyu, he couldn't help showing a sarcastic smile. Why do I feel like two people like this can easily cut you into pieces? Don't gossip with me here, you bitch. You are scolding me. All by the rude words, but he was slightly annoyed by Toyuya's foul words. Cough, Duo-yuya, you are a woman, do you say such a thing? Shut up for me, fat pig. Before Jirobo could say the whole thing, Duoyu also looked at her and complained as well. Is it really coming? Looks like, I was really hit by Mr. Gongyi. Just when the four of them were still there studying him, Sasuke looked behind him from the corner of his eye, and he already felt a little bit. With Gongyi for so long, and I'm constantly being nurtured by him. Sasuke's strength has long since changed. Even though the four of them were already hiding behind, Sasuke still noticed. Of course, he doesn't show it now. The whole Konoha village actually knows, and it is not Sasuke alone. 4 people in Yinyan village, they may not have thought of it at all. In fact, since they entered the range of Konoha village, they have been discovered by Anbu. Reason why no one has been dispatched is also because Nara Shikaku is here, he has been there, pressing it. Gongyi-chung, for Hokage, his contribution to Konoha village is very big. Especially the strengthening of various enchantments, as well as optimization and improvement. He was originally very accomplished at this, so after his shot, he rested. Now the village of Konoha can be said to have been. Of any outsider can't escape Anbu and the eyes. Night is like dead ashes. The bright white moonlight is the only light in this darkness. The back hill of Konoha village. After Sasuke learned about the arrival of the 4 people, he simply trained for a whole day at the training ground. At this moment, he seemed to have no end in mind. After the venue closed, he continued to come to the back mountain and started the next round of training. Hee, this kid is really hardworking. Kidomaru, who was following Sasuke, said with a smile. That's right, we can end him at the back of the mountain and dedicate him to Lord Orochimaru. Jirobo looked happy and said involuntarily. It does save a lot of trouble. Nodding from side to side, he couldn't help licking his lips with a cold smile. Get him under control now. Duoyu didn't talk nonsense with them at all, the whole person immediately. Dodging and heading towards Sasuke. Cut, this guy. Kidomaru saw that Taiyu also disappeared, and he did the same immediately. Use the teleportation technique to move towards Sasuke. Swish, swish, swish. Following the group of 4 and the others, they dodged and surrounded Sasuke. Gongyi was in the dark, and he saw all of this in his eyes. There was playfulness on his face. Gongyi knew very well that Sasuke was fully capable of defeating them. However, in order to infiltrate Orochimaru, proper disguise is necessary. After seeing that they were in contact, Gongyi left a Mokudan wood-style clone, and immediately left here. The current situation, he no longer needs to watch, everything is clear in his heart. Who are you? Seeing the sudden appearance of 4 people, Sasuke knew that it was the one sent by Orochimaru. But he still pretended to be serious, and looked at them nervously. The 4 people of the sound and the 4 congregations, Dongmen Gatong Maru. The 4 people in the 4 congregations of the sound, Nanmen Jirobo. The 4 people of Yinji are in 4 groups, and Examen is near. The 4 people of the sound, the 4 people, the North Gate Duoyuyi. Soon as Sasuke finished speaking, the 4 of them answered him with a sneer. Quote. The atmosphere was somewhat silent. Hearing their names, Sasuke did not speak again. And the 4 people 4 did not say any more, but chose to strike first in an instant. The first to bear the brunt is Jirobo and Gatong Wan. They rushed out with their fists raised and bombarded towards Sasuke's eyes. Huh. Sasuke snorted coldly and headed towards them instead of retreating. Substitute. With two bangs, Sasuke's face was stunned, and he saw that Jirobo and Kidomaru were all turned into half pieces of wood. Hee, let's play nice music. Dark Shadow suddenly appeared, and he looked at Sasuke with a smile on his face. Quote exclamation mark quote. An invisible attack erupted in an instant. Yes. Sasuke's reaction was quick, and he crossed his hands in front of him, immediately. Step back. Damn, where did his attack come from? Was a hint of confusion on his face, and Sasuke was indeed a little surprised by such a strange attack. Although his strength is not weak, it is indeed a bit unexpected for the strange attack of the four cooperate with each other. A little stronger than Sasuke imagined. At this time, Kidomaru, who suddenly appeared, opened his mouth and spit out a cobweb-like white sticky silk towards Sasuke. Like a big net, it was directly imprisoned towards Sasuke. Jirobo and Tayuya also did not go to the theater again. Dodging and approaching, the secret techniques of the two of them began immediately. The hand seal is used. In just a short while, Sasuke seems a little overwhelmed by their powerful attack. He didn't try his best, and deliberately trained for another day. The whole person has long been very tired, and there are not many chakras that can be used. It's now. Seeing a flaw in Sasuke, Tayuya immediately. Drink. The four of them blinked, and all of them were bombarding Sasuke again. Chapter 527. The Invasion of Spies. In the dark night, the cricket's cry echoed throughout the jungle behind Konoha. Orochimaru-sama, why do you care about such a guy? Seeing Sasuke who had been sealed, Kidomaru couldn't help but complain. Not long ago, they had successfully subdued Sasuke. Naturally, they didn't know that all this was just an arrangement by Gongyi. The current Kidomaru, after easily catching Sasuke, actually has a confused expression on his face. This guy is not as strong as them, Orochimaru still cares so much, he is completely puzzled. This is the order of Orochimaru-sama. Let's stop guessing. Zuo-jin took out a scroll in his arms, and said with both hands immediately. Hand seal takes the next shot. A muffled thud, a huge wooden barrel emerged from the white smoke. Seal it now, and then we'll get out of here first. Taiyu also looked at the wooden barrel in the middle, and she immediately said. Now that Sasuke is in hand, she doesn't want to stay here forever. Gongyi's reputation is far and wide, and people are still very jealous of him. Something really went wrong and Gongyi came back. Then they all knew that they and others could not leave Konoha village at all. Good. Thinking of this, Jirobo also immediately put the unconscious Sasuke in the barrel. And Gatong Maru and the others, also immediately around the barrel. Almost synchronously, all four of them hand seal with both hands. A black light burst out above Sasuke's head. Four black fog town. Four pressed down and shouted in unison. Om! The black light shrank in an instant, completely covering the wooden barrel. With a bang, the entire wooden barrel was now airtight. Seal the black seal. When everything is over, throw a few rune papers forward again, immediately. Hands clasped together. Swish swish. Several spells were thrown out, as if they had life, they were attached to all sides of the wooden barrel. We can leave now. All things are over. Jirobo put the barrel on his back, looked at several people and said. Well. The other three nodded and said nothing. Who are you? Course, just as they were about to leave, several voices appeared. Swish, swish, swish. Several ninjas from Konoha village came here. Damn, it seems that the movement just now was too big, attracting the patrolling ninjas. Duo you also cursed. It might be a little troublesome now. Kidomaru stared at the several Konoha ninjas in front of him, and he smiled lightly. What's in your bucket? Several of Konoha's patrolling ninjas, biting Kiba, looked at them and asked. Don't think about it, the 4 people in front of you are not good, they know it. Their hands, everyone is ready to go. What is? Wright smiled coldly, and immediately came to the side of one of the Konoha village ninjas. Then you don't need to know. Bang! A muffled sound came out, and the Konoha village ninja immediately was knocked out. In order to prevent attracting more people, they did not dare to use large-scale ninjutsu. But at this time, they all activated the power of the curse. Of the 4 of them at the moment were all covered with dense curse marks, which made people feel a little frightened. At the same time, Konoha Village, Central Administration Building. Sir Shikaku, Konoha has found an enemy behind the mountain. A patrolling ninja flashed over and looked at him immediately. Report to. After the Battle of the Mountain, he has been notified by the signal. Now that Gongyi is out of here, everything is left to Nara Shikaku. So the problem arose, and he was the first person they reported. Well, there is an enemy. Nara Shikaku heard the words, he immediately standing up, his face revealed a puzzled expression. There are still people who dare to invade our Konoha village. Orochimaru sent someone to capture Sasuke, and Nara Shikaku naturally knew that. However, such a secret matter is naturally impossible for ordinary ninjas to know. Even today's enchantment class is held by Anbu from Kimimaro. Now Sasuke goes to Orochimaru's side to be an undercover agent, but it's a top-secret mission. Of course, fortunately, although everyone knew that there was an invasion by foreign enemies, they did not find that it was Sasuke's problem. Of Yin and 4 people sealed Sasuke in the wooden barrel, which saved Gongyi a lot of trouble. After that, he can also publicize that Sasuke is on a mission. Anyway, you can say whatever you want. Now the people of Konoha village don't care about these things at all. Continue to strictly guard the remaining positions, and don't let the enemy take advantage of it. Nara Shikaku spoke immediately, looked at the patrol ninja and said, it is very likely that they came to inquire about the information of my village because the 5th Hokage left. I understand, Shikaku-sama. Hearing Nara Shikaku speak, the patrol ninja nodded in response. Following Nara Shikaku's guidance, he naturally thought the same. This must be a spy in the outer village. In short, he didn't take it seriously. From other villages often come to invade each other's villages. Basically, it's all a little bit of trouble, nothing too serious. As Orochimaru last time, Konoha crash plan. Events like that are almost never encountered in a lifetime. In this way, Nara Shikaku's words are also a reassurance. Since excellent ninjas have been sent to solve it, there is nothing to do with them. Anyway, such a routine espionage invasion has not been unheard of before. Now Gongyi has become, for Hokage, things like this are actually decreasing. You should have heard these things by now. Seeing the patrolling ninja leaving, Nara Shikaku looked forward and said lightly. Well. Accompanied by the voice, a figure flashed over. It is a man in Anbu combat uniform with a mask on his face. Then do it now, and don't let Lord Hokage's plan slip through the cracks. Understood. The Anbu ninja nodded, immediately. Disappear. Normally, Anbu can only be commanded by Gongyi. But this time the situation is special, Gongyi also gave Nara Shikaku a little power. After all, for such a thing, the rest of the ordinary ninjas are likely to expose the matter. Only the members of Anbu can really handle this matter well. Furthermore, each of them has long been under the invisible control of Gongyi. And there is Kimimaro behind it, so it's still very reassuring. At the same time, in order to prevent Nara Shikaku from here, he has some other thoughts. After all, Nara Shikaku, Gongyi didn't completely trust him 100%. Chapter 528. Akatsuki's actions. Lord Hokage, now Sasuke has been taken away. Nara Shikaku stood in front of Gongyi and immediately reported. Well, Orochimaru really took advantage of my departure. Sitting on a large chair in Hokage's office, Gongyi looked at Nara Shikaku and asked. Everything is as you guessed. Nara Shikaku nodded and replied to Gongyi. After you left, Anbu found someone sneaking into the village. That night, the ninjas patrolling the perimeter once fought with them. Hee, this Orochimaru really wants to take a risk. Gongyi sneered, revealing a look that was as expected. Today, in a real sense, was the first day he had just returned from Terumime. What happened to Sasuke a few days ago? Gongyi was there at the time, so naturally they knew about it, but they didn't tell Nara Shikaku. Now that the whole plan has been completed, he will not pay attention to it anymore. The next thing, then you need to see Sasuke's performance. As for his sudden disappearance, basically the entire Konoha village didn't pay much attention. Sasuke himself is withdrawn and rarely interacts with people. Apart from Kakashi, Naruto and Sakura, he has little social interaction. Of course, Gongyi had already thought about the explanation of the three of them. So there is nothing to worry about. Working all day, Gongyi sat quietly on the top of the Hokage rock. Underneath him is a statue that looks like himself. A pair of deep eyes looked at the Konoha village in front of him. It was just right, and now the entire Nuoda village has a panoramic view. Because it was already night, all the houses were brightly lit at this moment. Looking at the very peaceful village, Gongyi was fascinated. Ever since he traveled here, he has reached this day in a blink of an eye. And again, soon, the Fourth Ninja World War is almost approaching. And he can finally complete the final plan. After decades of continuous planning, the dust can be completely settled. Of the small 10 tails Jinchuriki column force is left with the 5 tails. When these things are done, I can use my divine avatar to recover the 5-tailed chakra. He didn't want to wait any longer. At that time, if Akatsuki takes the lead and swallows all of it directly into Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, then he will lose a lot. Lord Hokage. A respectful voice suddenly sounded from behind. What's wrong? Gongyi sat quietly on the Hokage rock and nodded. His eyes were still fixed on Konoha below. It seems that the person behind him can be who he is. Now Akatsuki's side has moved. Yamato wearing an animal mask, he knelt down on one knee and looked at Gongyi's back. Oh, have you finally acted? Gongyi's face. The color remained unchanged, and he smiled lightly. That's right, missing Nin Sasori of the Red Sand from Sunagakur village has now entered the Land of Winds. Yamato nodded and responded to Gongyi. Only Sasori of the Red Sand. That's right. It seems that Akatsuki's manpower is seriously lacking now, so the future plan seems to be delayed a lot. Gongyi was not surprised. According to the original book, this capture of Gaara should be Deidara's business. But Deidara, who had already been killed by himself, became Sasori of the Red Sand. Of course, that doesn't matter. For Gongyi, the reason why he keeps Akatsuki now is just for them to start the Fourth Ninja War. The unification of the ninja world naturally requires Akatsuki to weaken these ninja Omura before it can be achieved. At that time, you can push the boat on your own and you can complete everything. So, he just chose to monitor Akatsuki and let them move, and didn't stop anything. Lord Hokage, what should we do next? Seeing that Gongyi has no plans for the next step, Yamato looked a little puzzled. Now you don't have to worry about what's going on in Sunagakur village, just keep monitoring them, and I'll make other arrangements for the rest. Gongyi stood, he turned to look at Yamato. Understood, Hokage-sama. Yamato nodded, immediately. Dodge away. It seems that now the plan on Gaara's side needs to be completed first. Gongyi looked indifferent, he muttered to himself. Originally, he wanted to use this spare time to collect the 5-tailed chakra from Iwagakure village. But I didn't expect that Akatsuki had already started targeting Gaara here. However, since they have already acted, it seems that there is really no delay for the 5 tails. Gangyi thought for a while in his mind, and he thought to himself involuntarily. Then finish the matter on Gaara's side first, and then use the avatar of divine consciousness to recover the five-tailed chakra. Now it's not too late. The research on the Jinchuriki column force of almost a small 10 tails person should start preparations. As time passes by 1010, if Akatsuki revives the 10 tails first, he will no longer have any point of research. In this way, to become a 10 tails Jinchuriki column force, you must get ahead of the mask Obito. A fierce gust of wind whistled past, sweeping up pieces of gravel. Looking around, there is an endless desert of sand dunes in front of you. In the land of wind, Sasori of the red sand with Nuota's hat is slowly moving forward. With the fall of night, the desert is easy to lose one's direction, but Sasori of the red sand doesn't care at all. It seems that he is still very familiar with the terrain here. It's been so long, and nothing has changed here. With the whistling of the wind, Sasori of the red sand looked in front of him. In his pair of cold eyes at this moment, a huge building has come into view. It's Sunagakur village. The great Sunagakur village is now on the horizon. I saw the Sunagakur village in front of me, and their buildings are very peculiar. The windows on it are also very small, apparently to prevent sandstorms. In this harsh environment, they can live here safely, and these special buildings have a lot of credit. Sand, sand, sand. Sasori of the red sand is marching step by step at this moment, and it will soon enter Sunagakur village. Although there are still many Sunagakur village ninjas on the outskirts now, they are patrolling the guards. But the big sandstorm at night, and the surrounding night, made them never notice that a terrifying guy had come here. Chapter 529. Sand Disaster. Quick, enemy attack. Boom. The quiet Sunagakur village, accompanied by a loud explosion, woke up countless people. Ninjas, civilians, all opened their eyes at this time. All the people who were still resting, quickly put on their clothes and walked towards the door. What is this? In the center of Sunagakur village, there are 444 huge puppets floating there. They wear yui-colored robes and are dozens of meters high. Although there are only 444s, the huge figure is enough to make the scalp tingle. Damn, it's Akatsuki's man. Maji was on the high eaves. He bit Kiba and looked at Sasori of the red sand who was controlling the puppet. Now wearing the Kazekage imperial robe, he felt the seriousness of the situation. With Gangyi's intentional or unintentional propaganda, Akatsuki has been known by everyone in the ninja world as Akatsuki. Now when they saw Sasori of the red sand's auspicious cloud robe, they recognized it long ago. Akatsuki guy, what the hell is he trying to do? Sunagakur Jonin, who was standing next to Maki, said with a confused look on his face. Their Sunagakur village, at this moment, the funds are seriously insufficient, and the power of the ninja is declining. For such an embarrassed Sunagakur village, everyone wondered how Akatsuki sent people here. Bastard, it's really a misfortune. Ebizo dodged to another place. He was much older now. I just sent Gangyi away before, but now I have welcomed Akatsuki again. Ebizo is thinking, is it that the entire ninja continent can no longer accommodate Sunagakur village? One disaster after another keeps coming to them. Stop him. Sunagakur village can't stand the destruction again. Here, Marky immediately. Orders to the ninjas in the surrounding Sunagakur village. Yes. All the Sunagakur ninjas nodded, then quickly dodged away. When they reappeared, they were already throwing the kunai in Sasori of the red sand. The countless kunai burst out from all directions, engulfing the Sasori of the red sand. However, before all the ninjas could see it clearly, a steel tail suddenly appeared from behind Sasori of the red sand. The clanging sound continued to appear, and the sparks of the collision between the two sputtered around. Countless kunai, without even the slightest effect, were thrown to the ground. The ninja tools just now are completely useless like scrap metal. This bastard is so strong. Seeing this scene, everyone could not help but take a step back. I saw Sasori of the red sand, his steel tail, and the cold light bloomed at this moment. It can be clearly seen that it is a tail made of steel, like a Sasori tail, which is segmented. Aren't you coming out yet? Sasori of the red sand looked around and saw the Sunagakure village ninjas, who were surrounding him. But obviously, there is no goal he wants at all. Today, I came to Sunagakure village, just as Miyazaki said, he came to capture Jinchuriki, column force Gaara of Aikyo Shukaku. Futon, wind style, storm broke 5. At this time, just as Sasori of the red sand was thinking, Marki suddenly appeared behind him. The hand seal spit out a ninjutsu. Hula. A gust of wind condensed by Futon, wind style, chakra, it spins out at high speed. Began to appear in the location where the strong wind was contaminated, and countless rubble flew. It's powerful enough to tear Sasori of the red sand to shreds. As soon as Magi made a move, he used all his strength without any reservations at all. He knew how scary Akatsuki's guys were. Then Killmoren led him out. Feeling the gust of wind, Sasori of the red sand, who was standing there, turned his head slowly. Instantaneous technique. Immediately. Vanishing dodged Marki's futon, wind style. Giggle. When the Sasori of the red sand disappeared, the 4 giant puppets above began to move. I saw that their arms were extremely sharp long knives. Although the puppets looked huge, they were just ordinary puppets. Apparently, it's just these ordinary ninjas, and Sasori of the red sand hasn't made a real puppet yet. Go to hell. Quick, kill them. When they saw that the giant puppets in front were already killing them, every ninja in Sunagakure village threw out the ninjutsu that they possessed and started to fight back. The current Sasori of the red sand, although it was originally from Sunagakure village ninja Gongyi, naturally hid his true identity. So now everyone in the outside world only knows that Akatsuki has a member who can manipulate puppets. But no one knew that he was actually the famous puppet master of Sunagakure village. Well, now in Sunagakure village, they also don't know the news of Sasori of the red sand. If they had known, they couldn't have that look anymore. With Sasori of the red sand hiding, he manipulated the puppet and started killing. After a short while, the sound of puff puff kept appearing. Although the giant golems are average in lethality, the Sasori of the red sand who control them are terrifying. Fully utilize their abilities to the fullest extent. Now even Maki, he is a little too hard to resist, the joint attack of the 2 giant puppets. Surrounding, dozens of ninjas from Sunagakure village, all without exception, were killed in various places. Ebizo and other high-level executives also bit Kiba a little helplessly. The guys of their older generation are not as strong as before. When all these battles started to the present, only a few minutes have passed, and some Sunagakure village ninjas have not even reflected. Sunagakure village has begun to fall into the disadvantage of the ninja power, unable to react quickly. Just the 4 puppets of Sasori of the red sand made them feel miserable. Damn, it's that Akatsuki's puppet master. What the hell are they Akatsuki trying to do? Soon, Kankuro and Tamari have also reached the battlefield. And with their arrival, Gaara also appeared. I saw that when he appeared, a piece of gravel appeared in the big gourd behind him, bombarding one of the rooms. There was a bang, and the hidden figure of Sasori of the red sand reappeared. Haha, have you been found? Sasori of the red sand looked up at Gaara. Gaara's face was indifferent, he was in the air at the moment, stepping on a piece of floating gravel under his feet. Although because of the change of the plot, Gaara did not become the 5th generation of Kazekage. However, because of Gong Yi's stimulation, he also practiced hard, and now his strength is not the same as before. Your chakra line has completely sold your position. Gaara looked at Sasori of the red sand and said coldly. Oh so. Hearing this, Sasori of the red sand looked at the chakra lines on his fingers, and the position of the link puppet. There were quite a few gravels that were slowly turning. Obviously, Gaara found the Sasori of the red sand by controlling the puppet's chakra line and using the gravel all the way down the terminal. Haha, it makes some sense. But unfortunately, you are going to die next. Sasori of the red sand, eyes flashed coldly, and he shook his hand towards Gaara, and 4 huge Yuhi robe puppets killed him. Chapter 530, Gaara's Perseverance. 3rd. Bang, bang, bang. 4 muffled noises came out, and a defensive shield composed of 4 sides of gravel was blocking Gaara's eyes. And the 4 Yuhi robe puppets controlled by Sasori of the red sand, all the cold blades in their hands were cut on them. Quick, let's get out of here first. Embarrassed Marky, he immediately. A big wave. At the command, everyone quickly backed away, leaving room for Gaara to shoot. Now they all know that they and others can't defeat this guy at all. The only hope is that now the increasingly powerful Gaara. Hula. At this time, after seeing that there are no ninjas of his own around, Gaara immediately. Wave your hands. Pieces of gravel, they transformed into Shukaku's claws and grabbed towards Sasori of the red sand. Now Gaara, he wants to lead Sasori of the red sand to the outskirts of Sunagakure village. There, not only has more grit to strengthen itself, but also less damage to Sunagakure village. Been so long, and some locations have not been built yet, so if this effort is destroyed again, the damage to Sunagakure village will be even greater. Gaara naturally knew that if he wanted to perfectly protect Sunagakure village, then the battlefield had to be moved out. Hee. This idea of his, Sasori of the red sand's next move completely thwarted Gaara's plans. I saw his figure burst back, dodging Gaara's gravel blow, and immediately. Shake of both hands, one of the Yuhi robe puppets waved towards a building. The long blade in his hand was extremely sturdy, and in an instant, countless pieces of debris flew across, and the building was completely destroyed. And just when Gaara looked there absent-mindedly, the other 3 puppets had already attacked him and slashed towards him. Damn. Gaara frowned, a look of distress on her face. Still too young for Gaara to calculate Sasori of the red sand. Contrary, his experience is far from enough to be comparable to his. Boom boom boom. In just a short while, the buildings around Sunagakure village were continuously destroyed, and Gaara gradually fell into passive. While he wanted to kill the Sasori of the red sand, he kept trying to use the gravel to protect those buildings. And he has to be on the lookout for the Sasori of the red sand, his puppet's bizarre attack. Last time, after he turned into a tail and destroyed Sunagakure village, he actually had a pimple in his heart. It is because of this that he insisted on protecting Sunagakure village to make up for his previous mistakes. In this way, even though Gaara's chakra is severely consumed, it will continue to create a gritty defensive shield to protect those buildings, thus resisting the destruction of Sasori of the red sand. Shameless. This guy from Akatsuki, he's so shameless. Gaara, he always wanted to protect our buildings. What should we do? Don't we have anyone to stop him? Around this time, many ninjas from Sunagakure village have gathered. Their faces were anxious, and everyone wanted to go forward and help Gaara. However, in the battle between the two, the average person can't intervene at all. Sunagakure village is now in decline, and there is almost nothing available. Now maybe in the entire Sunagakure village, the one who is entangled with Sasori of the red sand here is probably only Gaara. Wasn't long, and with the pointless waste of Gaara's chakra, he was already starting to lose ground. And here in Sasori of the red sand, a pair of eyes bloomed, watching Gaara closely. Because of Gaara's persistence, the battle was easy. Sasori of the red sand, he didn't even bring out the rest of the signature puppets. Hula. Above another building, a piece of gravel blocked the destruction of the Yuhi robe puppet. Other side, the rest of the Yuhi robe puppets moved very fast, killing Gaara again. The same routine is played out over and over again. Although Gaara knows it well, he is also a little powerless to fight again. High-intensity continuous control of grit without rest, chakra has long been completely dry. Although the tailed beast can help him, Gaara dares not release the one-tailed Shukaku at all. Now that Shukaku is released, it may be the real destruction of Sunagakure village. Therefore, he can only use his own power to compete with Sasori of the Red Sand. There are flaws. Sasori of the Red Sand saw a mistake by Gaara at this time. The Fei Liu who he controlled, immediately. Open your mouth. 8 waves of Fei Liu who needles. The sound of swish-swish appeared instantly, and countless poisonous needles and poisonous stingers all spurted out. They are very dense, and the sharp spikes above are covered with venom. Gaara saw this blow, his heart sank, immediately. Wave again. The few gravels quickly coalesced, forming a large wall in front of him. However, his chakra has been overdrawn, and the attack of Sasori of the Red Sand is very strong. His defense hardness is not enough, he was still penetrated by one of the poisonous needles and hit his body. Gaara. At this time, Maki and the others dared to split. Everyone can see, Gaara has lost consciousness at this moment, and he has been caught by the huge Yuhi robe puppet. Bang! After seeing that Gaara had succeeded, a cloud of black smoke was released by the Sasori of the Red Sand. He immediately chose to leave. In the mood to stay here and face thousands of ninjas. As soon as the black poisonous mist appeared, it had stopped all the ninjas from Sunagakure village who wanted to pursue them. A day later. Lord Hokage, Gaara of Sunagakure village has been captured. Yamato, who just got the news, immediately came to the Hokage office and reported to Gong Yi. So fast. Gong Yi looked up at Yamato, obviously surprised. With Sasori of the Red Sand's character, he should be cautious. It is impossible to just get there, immediately. Capture Gaara. It seems that Akatsuki's side is very anxious about the tail beast, and it is also very anxious. Gong Yi thought about it for a while, and was excusable. Because of his existence, Akatsuki's plan has been delayed a lot. Looking at it now, Akatsuki should have no time to waste. Therefore, Sasori of the Red Sand did not delay, but chose immediately to capture. Thinking of this, Gong Yi didn't show any expression. He felt that this was not a good thing. My Iwagakure village have not been resolved yet, and if they pass by, it will have a great impact on me. Looks like it's not too late. Gong Yi also doesn't want to wait anymore, and now he has to speed up his pace. Gaara's side is over, Gong Yi will decide immediately. Contact the Avatar of Consciousness and capture Wu Wei. Then should we rescue him now? Yamato looked at Gong Yi and asked directly. Yamato still understands some of Gong Yi's early plans. Therefore, he is now waiting for Gong Yi's next arrangement. It doesn't have to be. Gong Yi shook his head with a thoughtful smile on his face. Wait until Sunagakure village can't bear it anymore, come and beg us to talk about it. Although the situation looked serious, Gong Yi did not mess up. Everything is still there, among his masters. Chapter 531. Asking Konoha for help. Sunagakure village. At this moment, in a large conference room, the atmosphere was a little depressing. I saw everyone sitting here, their faces were gloomy. What to do next? I didn't think Akatsuki's target was Gaara. A senior Sunagakure, who bit Kiba first, broke the silence. Now with Gaara being captured by the Sasori of the Red Sand, they hold a meeting right after the Sunagakure village's battlefield has been cleaned up. Village of Sunagakure, which has not been built for a long time, is now more severely damaged. Although Gong Yi released the tailed beast, he also kept his sympathy and did not damage the interior of Sunagakure village too much. But Sasori of the Red Sand is different. In order to contain Gaara, he keeps destroying these buildings in Sunagakure village. By the time the battle was over, the village of Sunagakure had suffered heavy losses. Looking down at the whole central bird, it has long since become ruins. But everyone didn't care about this. The building is destroyed and can be rebuilt, but it is really finished without people. Now Gaara is of great significance to Sunagakure village, and he is already the most representative of the younger generation. His strength has improved by leaps and bounds in a short period of time, and at the same time, as a Jinchuriki column force, he is the last barrier of Sunagakure village. It was because of this that Sunagakure village devotes countless resources to Kiba just to get back to Gaara in Konoha village. But after thinking about it, the old guys didn't even think about it. Didn't take long for Gaara to be captured again. This time, it was a game of interests between villages, but it was Akatsuki, a notorious guy in the ninja world who captured Gaara. I've heard for a long time that Akatsuki is secretly catching tailed beasts. In the previous Takian village, their Nantai Jinchuiki column force was almost captured. A Sunagakure executive seemed to remember something, and said with a bad face. That's right. Hearing this, Ebizo's expression sank even more. I didn't expect that after so long, they would actually follow the idea of the tailed beast. Damn, we must never give up on Gaara. Marky knocked on the table, the whole person immediately interjected. Gaara is the student he cultivated, and he is the most promising person in Sunagakure village to become the 5th generation of Kazekage, and it is absolutely impossible for Akatsuki to be destroyed. Although he is now wearing the Kazekage royal robe, he still represents Kazekage and has no real power. Put it bluntly, he is now cultivating Gaara to support him on the position of Kazekage. Gaara's ability has been seen by everyone, and he is the most qualified person to become Kazekage. It will take time, and now with him being caught, the plans on the Sunagakure side have been ruined again. Akatsuki is so powerful that he can take back Gaara now. Especially in a situation like our Sunagakure village, where the power of ninjas is simply pumped out. At the moment in our Sunagakure village, it is indeed difficult to shake the power of Akatsuki. The top executives of Sunagakure village shook their heads, a feeling of powerless revolving heaven on their faces. They didn't expect that Sunagakure village would have such a down day. I think we might have a way. At this moment, Maggie's eyes showed a hopeful look. Obviously, in his mind, the last solution came to his mind. What way? The executives of Sunagakure village who were present asked almost in unison. Their faces are mostly confused, and now facing such a dead-end situation, there is no way to turn the tide. Ask the village of Konoha for help. Silent for a while, Maki looked at the high-level officials in front of him and said slowly, now only by asking the 5th generation of Hokage to take action, maybe we can hope to retake Gaara from Akatsuki. Quote. As soon as Maki finished speaking, the entire noisy conference room was quiet. None of the higher-ups in Sunagakure village said a word, and the expressions on their faces varied. None of them thought that Maki would actually want to help the 5 generations of Hokage in Konoha village. Although the 2 villages are still allied at the moment, they have been dead since the last incident. Under normal circumstances, they would not choose to ask Konoha village for help even if they were killed. Now do they have any other way? Because of this, everyone's expressions are constantly changing. Obviously, they are also weighing the pros and cons. Well, the final result, of course, is that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Gaara is of great significance to Sunagakure village, and is also the Jinchuriki column force of Sunagakure village. Either way, now they must save it from Akatsuki's hands. Akatsuki, they are not ninja village, they have principles and bottom line. Now that he wants to capture Gaara, he naturally wants to covet the Shukaku Aikida inside him. No one knows if Akatsuki will do anything outrageous. There is no time to hesitate any longer, and I think bowing to Konoha is the last resort. Ebizo's frowning brows gradually loosened, and seemed to have completely figured it out. In the entire ninja world, the only person who can really help them is Gong Yi. With his terrifying strength, Akatsuki would definitely be hard-pressed to compete with him. At least the 5 generations of Hokage agree, then there is hope that Gaara can be rescued. It's not too late, and Ebizo doesn't want to hesitate anymore. Then it's settled, I'll do it right away. Someone to Konoha village for help. I believe that the 5th generation of Hokage should not really care. Akatsuki, s. Besides, it really doesn't work, we just need to pay some more. Wait, the rest of the Sunagakure village high-level openings, Maki immediately said. He didn't want to wait any longer. After a day had passed, they were probably about to leave the territory of the Land of Wind. So, there is not much time left for them. The longer the delay, the more dangerous it might be for Gaara. Such a simple matter, how could Maki not know that the future of Sunagakure village has already been pinned on Gaara, and no one wants to really lose him? Immediately, when Maki finished saying this sentence, no one vetoed, but all chose the default. Didn't take long for the meeting to end quickly. Maki immediately set off, and quickly rushed towards Konoha village with his team. And Anbu of Sunagakure village is using the secret technique to follow the clues to trace the route that Sasori of the Red Sand left. The whole Sunagakure village is completely mobilized at this time. Chapter 532. Human Jinchuriki Column Power Crisis. Night is dispelled by the light, and a new day comes. Konoha village, inside the Hokage office. Lord Hokage, something happened at Sunagakure village. Nara Shikaku walked in, looked at Gong Yi and said, "Oh, something happened." Gong Yi raised his head and looked at Nara Shikaku as if he didn't know anything. "That's right, just through contact with the spy, Jinchuriki column force from Sunagakure village was taken away by someone suspected of Akatsuki." Nara Shikaku's face was not very good, and immediately replied to Gong Yi. He is naturally not worried about Sunagakure village now, but he is thinking of Naruto, who is the Jinchuriki column force of Kyubi, Nine Tails people. Nara clan with high IQ, and as expected of the Nara Shikaku, who has been reused by Hokage in all dynasties. He's just passing through Sunagakure village now, combined with the news that Gong Yi had framed Akatsuki last time. Nara Shikaku quickly analyzed that Akatsuki and the others were about to attack again. And the Jinchuriki column force of the tailed orcs in each village is now obviously very dangerous. Konoha village is no exception. Although there is Gong Yi guarding here, it is impossible for Naruto to leave the village without going out for a lifetime. Therefore, Kyubi Nine Tails Jinchuriki column Lee Naruto, his situation is still very dangerous. Did you actually capture Jinchuriki column force from Sunagakure village? Gong Yi's face returned to calm. He closed the documents on the table and sneered. They seem to be really restless now. It seems that we have to guard against it now. Nara Shikaku looked at Gong Yi and expressed her concerns. Our Kyubi Nine Tails Jinchuriki column Naruto from Konoha village. Now it seems that he should not be allowed to leave Konoha, and Anbu will also be sent. Just protect him. Hehe, Shikaku-sensei, you are really serious. Gong Yi shook his head and did not agree with Nara Shikaku's opinion. The current Naruto, naturally, cannot stay in Konoha village. On the contrary, Gong Yi will send him out on a mission later. Thinking of this, Gong Yi looked at Nara Shikaku and continued to laugh. Although Akatsuki wants to touch the tailed beast, I don't think they will come to our Konoha village stupidly and take Kyubi, Nine Tails, away first, which should be worrying. It's the rest of the ninja Omura, not us. Furthermore, even though we want to protect Naruto now, his character will only backfire. It's even very possible that he is so strong, but he will stay outside and wait for Akatsuki to catch him. The smile on his face is undiminished. As Naruto, who has seen Big since he was a child, Gong Yi knows him very well. Hearing Gong Yi finish speaking, Nara Shikaku was also momentarily at a loss for words. Because he really can't refute anything. Moreover, it is indeed like Gong Yi now, and it is very likely that he is too unfounded. After all, Akatsuki acted cautiously and did not choose the strongest Konoha village first. After all, Gong Yi is here, and he won't suffer from a bad character. If Akatsuki really reaches out to Konoha village, then they will definitely not end well. In this way, the current Naruto seems to be safe. Indeed, as Gongyi said, it is the Jinchuriki column force of the rest of the Omura who need to worry. Now that Akatsuki dares to force his way into Sunagakure village, he will directly snatch the Jinchuriki column force. Then this kind of thing will definitely continue to be staged in other villages. Lord Hokage, there is someone from Sunagakure village. An Anbu ninja approached and reported on one knee and half knelt in front of Gongyi. The people from Sunagakure village actually came to Konoha village. Nara Shikaku's face showed a hint of surprise, completely unexpected. Hehe, now their man, Jinchuiki column, has been arrested, so he must have come to ask for help. Gongyi smiled faintly, as if he had already guessed it. Now Gaara is cultivated as a seed of 5 generations of Kazekage, and it is naturally very valued. Not to mention, he is the only Jinchuriki column force in Sunagakure village. No matter how they think about it, they will put their faces down and ask for help. After all, now they have only 2 choices in front of them. The first one, give up Gaara, give up this person's Jinchuriki column force, and then Sunagakure village completely fell. The second is to give up face and come to help himself, thus saving Gaara's life. A simple choice, they will naturally choose the second. Gongyi didn't know the content of their meeting, but he had already guessed in his heart. I really didn't expect that the current Sunagakure village would actually come to us for help. Nara Shikaku shrugged with a look of disbelief on her face. After all, the relationship between Sunagakure village and Konoha village is very bad at present. Even if it is said that fire and water cannot endure, it is not an exaggeration. When Nara Shikaku knew that Jinchuriki column force from Sunagakure village was taken away, it was not that he didn't think of this possibility. But it was quickly denied by him, because Sunagakure village should not ask for support from Konoha village. But now, it seems that my guess is completely wrong. Was Nara Shikaku. After looking at Gongyi, there was no surprise on the face of this 5th generation Hokage. It seemed as if he knew that Sunagakure village would definitely come. It took such a huge price to get back the Jinchuriki column power, how could they give up so easily? Gongyi stood up and responded lightly to Nara Shikaku. But before he could speak again, Gongyi looked at Anbu ninja and asked, who is this time from Sunagakure village? It's their agent Kazekage, and the affiliated ninja squad. Anbu ninja responded immediately to Gongyi. Hehe, are you acting as Kazekage? Gongyi smiled and murmured, looks like Sunagakure village, they are very eager to find Gaara. You go and bring them to the conference room. Senses, Gongyi instructed the Anbu ninja in front of him. Yes. Hokage-sama, you want to help Sunagakure village now. Seeing Anbu ninja dodging away, Nara Shikaku looked at Gongyi and asked. They were really involved in the original Konoha collapse plan, and they did a lot of damage to the Konoha village. However, their subsequent compensation did indeed make us a blessing in disguise. Gongyi seems to have an idea in his mind. It's not impossible to help them this time, but we have to see their sincerity. Quote. Hearing Gongyi finish speaking, Nara Shikaku didn't say anything but nodded with a thoughtful look on his face. Apparently, he's still digesting what Gongyi said. As a traveler, Gongyi naturally possesses the ability of a prophet god. Many things, he sees farther than Nara Shikaku. Besides, he also has his own plan, but he didn't tell him. Chapter 533. Super Strong Mouth. Then all of this will trouble you, Hokage. Sitting in the conference room of New Oda, Maki looked at Gongyi with awe. The way he is now, his hatred for Konoha village has long since disappeared. Even the voice of speech has been silently lowered a lot. And those around, the ninjas of Sunagakure village didn't dare to show any other appearances on their faces. People have to bow their heads under the eaves. What's more, now they want to come to Konoha village for help. This is going to work, and with the arrival of Gongyi, Maki also quickly expressed his intentions. Its purpose is also very simple, that is, want Gongyi to take action, and then rescue their Gaara from Sunagakur village. And as a price, their Sunagakur village is naturally willing to pay a lot of money. Of course, now they know that all this still requires Gongyi's consent. Even if they were willing to give anything, if Gongyi shook his head and vetoed, it would be completely useless. Fortunately, Gongyi has now become as good as talking. He still agreed to their request. Hee, Cage, you are really polite. Gongyi smiled faintly and looked at Maki in front of him. Sunagakur village is originally an alliance with Konoha village. Now that you are in trouble, we will naturally reach out to help. That's right, our two villages are allies, of course we don't distinguish between you and me. Maki was also embarrassed and Yuhi asked with an embarrassed smile, then I don't know about you, Hokage, when you're ready to go. I'll be back right away. A ninja team to cooperate with your Sunagakur village to rescue the Jinchuriki column force. Gongyi didn't mind at all, and also smiled and returned to Maki. When Maki heard this, he was stunned. Ninja squad. Lord Hokage is no trivial matter. A simple ninja team is simply impossible to handle. Want to vomit blood a bit. Maki is also suffering, and constantly wants to complain about Gongyi. Send a team of ninjas to cooperate with them. Sunagakur village paid such a price for your Hokage shot. Now, you actually want to send a ninja team. Their Sunagakur village is in decline, but there is no shortage of ninja teams. If this was a problem that a ninja team could solve, how could they have come all the way to Konoha village to seek help from all the people in Sunagakur village who were present? Their faces showed a trace of discomfort. But now, they did not dare to reveal it, for fear of offending Gongyi. Cage, don't worry, the ninja team I sent this time is of course no ordinary ninja. Gongyi naturally saw what was in Maji's heart, and explained with a smile, besides, since I promised you that I can rescue the Jinchuriki column force, I will never break my promise, and among them, I think you will no need to worry. Good. Silence. Maki could only bite Kiba and agree even if there was. Now that this is the case, he goes to the last bet. Gongyi is Hokage. Since he has promised himself, Maki also knows that he may not break his promise. Young Hokage in front of me, Maki knows his strength. At this moment, he can only choose to believe. Shikaku-sensei, go and tell the Kakashi team to come to my place. Sending Maki away, Gongyi returned to the office, looked at Nara Shikaku and said, N. Nara Shikaku's face froze, and she asked Gongyi in disbelief, Lord Hokage, you don't want them to support Sunagakur village and rescue people Jinchuriki column force? Correct answer. Gongyi didn't hide it, and directly replied to Nara Shikaku. This time, it's not that Gongyi wants to follow the plot. It was Gongyi, who simply wanted to train Naruto well. And he can also use his super strong mouth to escape, to have a bond with Gaara. This way, I can control Gaara better and faster. After all, it is no accident that he returns in this event, and it is very likely that he will be sent to the position of the 5th generation Cage directly. This way, the entire Sunagakur village is naturally the master in his hands, and he does not need to do anything to the Sunagakur village. Long as Gaara is under control, the indirect Sunagakur village will also be included in the bag. Everything is planned, so Gongyi just needs to do it step by step. But Hokage-sama, Akatsuki's goal is very clear now. They are most likely to want the tailed beast in the body of the human Jinchuriki column force. Nara Shikaku was naturally puzzled by Gongyi's thoughts, and he was still there at the moment. His mind was blank. Others couldn't hide in time, and wanted to hide Jinchuriki column force, but Gongyi wanted to send it in front of him. This is undoubtedly the sheep into the tiger's mouth. There may be no return. Let Naruto go over, and naturally it will attract the attention of Akatsuki. I have already put a Hiraishin stamp on him, so there is no need to worry about his safety. Gangyi made up a few excuses and said to Nara Shikaku, "When Akatsuki appears, I will immediately use Naruto as a medium to teleport, and then rescue the Jinchuriki column force from Sunagakur village, and at the same time we can also get Sunagakur village to not Philippine supplies, and their goodwill. We have successfully managed such a thing, and it has also promoted the friendship between the two villages. At least it will not be as deeply hated as before." As if thinking about the village, Gangyi said, "After all, Shikaku-sensei, you don't want Konoha village to make enemies on all sides, right? Also, Naruto also needs to grow up and protect him all the time, it will only hurt him." What Gangyi said has been silent. Nara Shikaku has been subtly influenced by Gangyi for a long time now. Although he has his own considerations, Gangyi always makes him speechless every time. This time, although he strongly did not recommend Naruto to go, he really had no way to refute when Gangyi finished speaking. Especially now that he knows that since Gangyi has made a decision, basically no one can change it. Thinking of this, Nara Shikaku shrugged and compromised again. "I understand, Hokage-sama. Gangyi has never done anything that would harm Konoha village since he took office. Contrary, the whole Konoha village is still in good order by his development." Well, Nara Shikaku also knows that Gangyi will not joke around with Jinchuriki column power. Senses, he immediately go out and send someone to inform Kakashi that they are coming. Kimimaro. When Nara Shikaku left, Gangyi looked towards the front and murmured lightly, "Lord Hokage, you are looking for me." Figure flashed over, and Kimimaro, who was wearing a mask, responded respectfully. Chapter 534. Kakashi Squad. "You go and call Neji over, I have something to explain to him." Seeing Kimimaro appear, Gangyi said lightly. Now that Kimimaro has become Anbu's controller, he usually does not only arrange tasks for Anbu's ninjas. He will also hide around Gangyi, responsible for protecting him. "Understood, Hokage-sama." Kimimaro nodded, immediately. "Dodge away. Lord Hokage, you are looking for us." A while, Kakashi knocked on the door and walked in with Naruto and Sakura. On Sasuke's side have been suppressed by Gangyi. So the status of the three people three is still good, and all the problems in the original work have not appeared. They also all know that Sasuke's affairs are very secretive, and at the same time they are silent. "Uncle Gangyi, do we have a new mission to perform?" Seeing Gangyi calling their team over, Naruto asked excitedly, waving his fist. After this long period of time, Naruto's Rasengan can be considered a small achievement. Well, at least it's finally usable. And, even if he doesn't use the shadow clone technique, he can still roll balls smoothly. It's a pity that although Naruto can be considered to have learned something, there is no special task for them for a while. In the same way, ordinary mission Naruto can't use such ninjutsu at all. But today was different. Naruto saw that Gangyi had specially called them over. There must be some important mission. And Kakashi and Sakura are also full of confusion, obviously guessing. You know, Gangyi usually doesn't call them on his own initiative. Yes, Naruto, you were right. He didn't dislike Naruto's open mouth. Gangyi was used to laughing anyway. Indeed, there is a special task that needs to be handed over to you. Special mission. Kakashi was stunned for a moment, not thinking at all. He brought Naruto and the others at this moment, and it was true that he hadn't performed a mission that was too special for a long time. Now that he heard Gangyi finished speaking, Kakashi was still looking forward to it, because he hadn't encountered any special task for a long time. As a good Jonin, Kakashi naturally wants to perform more valuable tasks. Yes, this mission is related to Sunagakur village. His head, Gangyi slowly continued. Gaara from Sunagakur village, you must know him. Gaara. It's that Jinchuriki column force from Sunagakur village. After hearing this name, Kakashi and Naruto are no strangers. The original Konoha collapsed plan, the scene where he turned into a tailed beast, is still vivid in my mind. Naruto even had a brief contact with him, because he felt that the identities of the two were somewhat similar. Of course, with Gangyi taking care of him, he is much better than Gaara. The task now is about Sunagakur Luo. Gangyi smiled, looked at Ka and his face became serious. This can also be said. It's your first level mission. Class mission. 3 of them heard this, their expressions changed. Now the quest level in Konoha village is level, levels, etc. They generally have the highest level, and only receive. This time, it was the first time that their team had received the top-level quest that Gangyi said. Sakura and Naruto, they may not know the importance of this level quest. As an excellent Jonin, he stayed in Anbu, Kakashi for a long time, but he understood very well. Tasks at the national level are generally classified tasks related to the national level. This is not something that ordinary people can accomplish. Now, Gangyi is actually going to hand over such a task to their team. Dong dong dong. Gangyi was about to speak when there was a knock on the door. Opened the door and walking in, it was Hyuga Neji who was called by Kimimaro. Just now, Neji, you are here, and I will announce the details of the next mission together. Okay, Lord Hokage. Seeing Neji coming, Gangyi continued. Next, your level mission is. Not long after, Gangyi simply told them that Akatsuki invaded Sunagakur village and took Gaara away. At the same time, they also shared their next mission to rescue Gaara. And Neji, you just don't have a mission right now, so join Kakashi's small class to carry out this mission first. Gangyi looked at Neji, looked directly at him and said. It's basically, that's all. Do you have anything else to ask? Seeing that everyone had already digested the news, Gangyi looked at them and asked. No more, Hokage-sama. The 4 of them have different expressions, but most of them are also very excited. For them, although this task is very difficult, it is enough to temper them. Especially, Neji, it's been a long time since he met someone who could really fight. He knew about this rescue mission, and it was obvious that Gangyi had specially arranged for him to enter the Kakashi team. This can be regarded as a disguised form to provide him with the opportunity to exercise his own ability well. Hyuga Neji thinks of these, he cherishes it very much. And Kakashi and them, the same is true. These tasks were handed over to them, and it was enough to see that Gangyi trusted them. Okay, since there is no problem, you will immediately go get ready and set off to Sunagakur village immediately in the afternoon. Yes. Several people responded in unison, immediately. Left here. Kakashi, what's wrong? After seeing several people leave, Kakashi didn't move. Gangyi looked at him and asked. Hokage-sama, the problem with Akatsuki now, if Naruto is in the past. I have everything arranged, you don't have to worry about this. Seeing that Kakashi had the same thoughts as Nara Shikaku, Gangyi waved his hand to reassure him. After a brief talk, Kakashi nodded and left. Afternoon. When a few people are done sorting, they immediately came to the gate of Konoha village. Due to the urgency of the situation, the 4 of us did not have much time to delay. After all, in such a rescue mission, if they waste a second, the mission may fail. Who had been dawdling, was unexpectedly fast. Obviously, now this first major task, he doesn't want to mess it up. It's already here. Kakashi, who was standing at the gate, looked at Naruto and said. Yes, let's go. Naruto was carrying a backpack, nodded and said. Well, I'll tell you the next arrangement in detail on the way. Seeing that the crew had arrived, Kakashi immediately nodding and walking away. And Hyuga Neji and several others, also immediately followed behind him. Goal, Sunagakur village. Chapter 535. Important chess pieces. Have they left? Sitting in Hokage's office, Gangyi asked Kimimaro in front of him. Yes, I have left. Kimimaro nodded and replied to Gong Yi. Well, now we can also start preparing here. Gong Yi smiled and said lightly. Although Gong Yi is here, it gives the people in Sunagakure village a very calm feeling. It seems that there is no rush at all, and it has nothing to do with him at all. But it's the exact opposite. Gong Yi can't really make Gaara die. He is in his own hands. A very important pawn in the village of Master Sunagakure. So if he dies, he will be in a lot of trouble later. Well, because of this, Gong Yi will still do it himself. Human Jinchuriki column force is deprived of the tailed beast, and naturally cannot survive. In the original plot, the situation where Chiyo sacrificed himself to resurrect Gaara is impossible. She was killed by herself a long time ago, so such a scene cannot be staged. That's why Gong Yi naturally chooses to take action and save Gaara from Akatsuki. However, Gong Yi also has his own plans. After all, if Akatsuki doesn't collect one end, it's hard for the story to continue. In this way, Gong Yi still needs to control all kinds of manipulations. Sand are howling, and people walking in the desert are always accompanied by whistling sounds. Sasori of the Red Sand, he is about to leave the territory of the Land of Winds at this moment. Beside him is a Yuhi-robed puppet floating in the sky, holding the unconscious Gaara in his hand. After Sunagakure village left, he didn't stop at all and was always on his way. The task assigned by Pain Heavenly Path has been completed, and he does not want to stay here too much to cause trouble. Making a move that doesn't make any sense is what he doesn't like to do the most. These ninjas were so weak that he was in no mood to collect them and make them into puppets. The wind, in this desert, never stops hanging. Pieces of gravel are constantly being blown around, and they are almost endless. Unconsciously, time has ushered in a layer of Yuhi color for the entire sky. The scorching heat of the desert is slowly dissipating, replaced by the dark sky slowly opening. Looking forward, the place that was gradually shrouded in darkness seemed a bit desolate. Sasori of the Red Sand naturally ignores these in front of him, and doesn't care too much. This moment, the constant whistling of the wind in his ears gradually became smaller. That hit the body is also not as dense. Sasori of the Red Sand has passed through this deep canyon, and he has left the desert of wind. Dodged, came to a dense jungle. Sasori of the Red Sand, who had been hurrying all the way, arrived and finally stopped. He glanced at Gaara, who was caught by the Yuhi-robed puppet, and raised his hand. I saw that the ring he was wearing was emitting a dim light at this moment. A black figure appeared before his eyes. However, the shadow kept flickering, as if it were about to disappear at any moment. Sasori, have you caught the Jinchuriki column force? As soon as the shadow of Pain Heavenly Path appeared, his pair of Rinnegan quietly watched the Sasori of the Red Sand in front of him. Yes, it has been caught. Sasori of the Red Sand nodded, looked at Pain Heavenly Path and asked, where am I going to take him now? I am waiting for you at the stronghold of the Land of Birds. Hearing Sasori of the Red Sand's question, Pain Heavenly Path answered him lightly. I see. Well, there is no problem seeing Sasori of the Red Sand, and Pain Heavenly Path's figure is also immediately disappeared. After finishing the communication, Sasori of the Red Sand's expression was indifferent and not immediately action. It was his pair of eyes that were quietly looking forward, as if thinking about something. A long time, he slowly turned around, and Sasori of the Red Sand also set off towards the position of the Land of Birds. There is a small stronghold built by Akatsuki before, and basically every location on the Jonin continent has their foothold. As a missing nin organization that everyone is afraid of, the place where they usually gather is naturally not fixed. Nagato and the others are cautious, and despite being members of Akatsuki, they rarely get together with each other. Usually more, it is also through the ring in the hand to contact and communicate tasks. Well, what you need to pay attention to is basically, these are the things. Standing under the administrative building of Sunagakure village, Kakashi looked at Sakura and the others in front of him and instructed, "When Sunagakure village is ready, we will immediately go." "I'm so sorry everyone, it's been a long wait." "Waiting," several people answered, and a woman's voice suddenly appeared. Looking, it was Tamari and Kankuro who came here with a team of ninjas from Sunagakure village. "We have only just arrived here, and the time is right." Kakashi smiled, looked at Tamari and said, "Since everyone has arrived, we will immediately. Let's go. Please wait." At this time, just when everyone was about to leave, the agent Kage Marky immediately stopped in front of the Sunagakure village team. When he appeared, he looked at Kakashi and nodded as a greeting, then looked at Kankuro and said, "You can't leave now, the guards inside Sunagakure village must be your responsibility." "What do you mean?" When Tamari heard Marky finish speaking, she frowned and said unhappily, "Gaara has been taken away for so long, we must do our best to save him before it's too late. Now let's stay here, how can we be at ease?" Kankuro stepped forward with a displeased expression on his face. Gaara's life and death are uncertain, and now we must act quickly. This is my order." Marky didn't wait for them to speak again, immediately face became serious. "Let's not say that the ninja power of our Sunagakure village is somewhat vacant. If you leave, it is very likely that Gaara's capture will be leaked. And once the matter is really exposed, it is very likely that other ninja villages will choose to attack. So no matter what, you have to stay in Sunagakure village, not leave here. Although there are spies in the village now, at least they can block the news. Like some good spies, there aren't too many other ninja villages. So naturally they are all arranged in valuable positions, and places like Sunagakure village are not worthy of their too much attention. Of course, even in Gangyi's place, if it wasn't for the purpose of monitoring Gaara and Akatsuki's affairs, it would be impossible to arrange a good spy here." Chapter 536. Big Event. But since that's the case. Hearing Maki finish saying this. After that, Tamari looked at him and tried to defend again. "Then it should be a moment earlier, Gaara should be rescued, isn't it? Maki-sama, we can't go to waste any more time." Kankuro's face was gloomy, and he said slowly, "We are fortunately seeking help from Konoha village, and everyone has come here, so now is not the best time to save Gaara. Enough, you stay here." Marky saw that Tamari was still about to speak, and he immediately interrupted and continued, "I will send the most elite team to follow everyone in Konoha village to rescue Gaara." Saying that, Maki looked at Kakashi and the others a little embarrassedly, and said softly, "I'm sorry everyone, I'm laughing, now the elite team I sent is waiting for you outside the village." "Okay Lord Kage, we'll be right away. Go." Kakashi nodded, leading Naruto and the others immediately flashed away. Things inside Sunagakure village, he is not in the mood to go to the theater here. Now his thoughts just want to quickly complete the task explained by Gangyi as true. Country of Birds. Gangyi had already left in Kimura and came here just after Kakashi, Hyuga Neji and the others set off with the elite squad of Sunagakure village. Now he has come to the location of its capital, sitting here quietly drinking tea. The fact that Sasori of the Red Sand and Gaara have come here, Gangyi has already learned. Of course, it looks a bit different from the original plot. And Gangyi has come to the Hokage world for a long time. That can really be remembered as nothing but these big events. It is because of this, the rest of these trivial things, but he also completely forgot. However, things like this now can't stymie Gangyi. Before Gangyi returned Gaara to Sunagakure village, he had already moved some hands and feet on him. Well, just so that after Akatsuki caught him this time, Gangyi could effectively know his location. After a simple taste of the tea from the land of birds, Gangyi walked away from here. Come to the outside. At this moment, the birds are singing and the flowers are fragrant, and the river is flowing quietly. Looking at everything in front of him, Gongyi couldn't help but sigh. This is really a good place to retire. The capital of the land of birds is built on the shore of a lake where migratory birds live, surrounded by green jungles. So the combination of the two forms a beautiful scene. In this ninja continent full of fighting, such a beautiful and peaceful city makes people feel a rare peace. My senses, the proper rest time was over. Gongyi knew that he would have to wait to close the network next. Thinking, he immediately activate the Hiraishin technique and leave here. In the dense jungle. On this small lake, Sasori of sand stood quietly, looking up at the cave that was blocked by boulders. It can be clearly seen that in the center of the boulder, there is also a forbidden. The spell of the word. After getting Pain Tien before, he rushed to the stronghold of bird country. After a long journey, he finally found this place. One-handed seal. The forbidden character spell attached to the center of the boulder in front of it, it immediately shines a yuhi-colored light. With the rumbling sound, the huge boulder blocking the entrance of the cave, it actually rose slowly and automatically. Without revealing any surprises, Sasori of the red sand stepped inside and walked in. After getting used to the sunny environment outside, it was pitch dark when I entered. Because there is no sunlight coming in all the year round, the surroundings are cold and humid. But these external factors, he didn't care at all. Yuhi-colored puppet beside him, at this time he has come to the depths of the cave. After walking through a short section of low road, when I really entered the core, I found that there is something special here. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, with his eyes closed in front of him is standing here. The huge volume does not appear crowded in the entire cave. Sasori, you are too slow. It's a long way, and it took a little time. Looking up at the Pain Heavenly Path standing on the fingers of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, Sasori of the red sand replied. Okay, now that we're here, let's start. Not talking nonsense anymore, Pain Heavenly Path glanced at Gaara lying there, he said directly. Obviously now Nagato, he no longer wants to wait. The whole plan started to speed up a lot. At this moment, Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, had just finished speaking with Pain Heavenly Path's finger. Dark shadows suddenly appeared. They are a little blurry and flickering, obviously they are not the body. In the entire cave of Nuoda, there is only Sasori of the red sand, and he appears as an entity. The Yuhi robe puppet, Sasori of the red sand also dodged and stood on one of the fingers. Because of our current shortage of numbers, this seal may take 5 days and 5 nights. So please keep your body safe, everyone. Pain Heavenly Path looked at the crowd of shadows and asked. And Ju, you use your main body to go outside and guard your surroundings. Head and looking at one of the dark shadows beside him, Pain Heavenly Path continued. Well, I see. Representing the shadow of Ju, he nodded. What does it take 5 days? A black shadow belonging to Ah Fei, dancing and dancing, with a somewhat unexpected appearance. Although he couldn't see his real expression, he was obviously a little unhappy. Enough, instead of complaining, let's hurry up now. Pain Heavenly Path interrupted Ah Fei who was still trying to speak. He closed his eyes and made a mark with his hands. And the rest of the shadows did the same thing, doing the same thing. Om. At this time, light suddenly erupted from the foot of Pain Heavenly Path. When the light fades, a 0 can be seen on the fingernail of Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Word. Not only he, Uchiha Itachi's feet, also appeared, Zu. Word. For the rest of the people, when the light disappeared, Ah Fei revealed the south, in place of Kisame Hoshigaki. Word. And Conan's white characters, Jiao, the north characters of the capital, the jade characters of Sasori of the red sand, etc., also slowly appeared. Under each other's feet represent the rings each of them wears. No surprises, everything was dealt with one by one. Soon, a loud rumbling sound came out. When everyone stood on their fingers, a total of 8 green lights lit up. The huge Geto-Mazo demonic statue of the outer path, it has slowly opened its mouth. Chapter 537. Illusory Dragon 9 Seals. Sealing Technique Magic Dragon 9 Seals. Om. With the completion of the hand seal of the Akatsuki group, a terrifying force immediately vented out. The huge Geto-Mazo demonic statue of the outer path, although its eyes are closed, gives all who see it a solemn and heavy feeling of oppression. When the entire cave was covered with a powerful coercion, a blue dazzling light began to bloom from its mouth. Hula. The blue energy in the mouth of Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, when they all converge, they instantly condense into 9 blue dragons. When the 9 blue dragons appeared, they waved their tails towards Gaara, who was lying on the ground. Blink of an eye, they all hit Gaara's body. They touched Gaara, they collapsed into a white light, followed by an invisible attraction that slowly raised Gaara. His closed mouth and eyes were open at the moment, a pair of eyes were blank, and there was no color at all. Immediately after, a chakra energy of Yuhi color was drawn out from his eyes and mouth, and moved slowly towards the mouth of Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. The whistling winds, they hang up without the slightest tiredness. Pieces of gravel, they were continuously mixed and gathered, forming a small sandstorm that raged around. At this moment, Kakashi and the others are rushing fast with the elite ninja team of Sunagakure village. After they finished the simple communication, they had already set off towards Gaara's position. Kitai, what's wrong? Soon, Jonin, who was in charge of the Sunagakure elite team, saw a ninja in front of him stop, and he asked with a puzzled face. Akatsuki and Gaara seem to have disappeared when they got here, I can't trace them anymore. Sunagakure ninja who was walking at the forefront turned his head with an ugly face and said to his captain. Can't trace them anymore. Sunagakure Jonin's expression changed. How could this happen? Normally, through their special secret techniques, it is possible to find the location of Gaara all the way. Now it's time, they just left the territory of the Land of Wind, and they have already lost the traces of Gaara. Hearing this news, not only the captain in charge of them looks ugly, the rest are not good at all. Where to go? Now that Kakashi from Konoha village and the others are here, they are embarrassed by such an embarrassing situation. Konoha village to help themselves, which has made every ninja in Sunagakure village feel ashamed. This time, the missteps of the secret technique made them even more dull, and they felt a little joking. Don't worry everyone, after leaving here first, I may be able to find Gaara's whereabouts. Kakashi looked at the Sunagakure elite team and said slowly. As early as when they set off at Sunagakure village, he channeled his own psychic beast Parker. One of the 8 ninja dogs, is not a fighting type psychic beast, but is best at tracking. That so long has passed, there must be progress on Parker's side. Okay. Hearing Kakashi finish, Jonin of Sunagakure village ordered. Little helpless, but there is nothing, and now they can only rely on Kakashi and others in front of them. The shameful thing is small, the rescue of Gaara is the key. Kakashi here, too, didn't think much about it. After a simple communication, they dodged and left here. Kakashi, they should be at the junction of the Land of Earth and the Land of Wind by now. Just after leaving the Land of Wind, Parker had already returned to Kakashi and said, there should be somewhere in the Land of Birds. The Land of Birds. Yes, where they should have a stronghold now. Parker nodded and responded to Kakashi. Okay, then let's rush to the country of birds immediately. Kakashi didn't hesitate, immediately. Wave your hand. No matter what. News is true or false, they must go to see it. Because the clues in Sunagakure village have been interrupted, since it is flying around like a headless fly, it is better to trust Parker's ability. After all, it is good at tracking, and it can rarely make mistakes. When night falls, the sky is covered with a layer of darkness unconsciously. Kakashi and the others, according to Parker's information, have entered the territory of the Land of Birds. Each of them is hurrying on their way and has no rest. The situation on Gaara, side is tricky, and no one wants to fail this mission, so they all cherish their time. It's here, it shouldn't be far. One more, in a little while, and we'll be there. Kakashi looked at Captain Sunagaku next to him and said. Yes. In charge of the Sunagaku team nodded. His face at the moment showed anticipation, and he quite hoped that he would not return without success. After all, Gaara's place is very important to Sunagaku village. And they can be sent out to rescue Gaara. Naturally, they are deeply trusted by Sunagaku village. Soon, just as the two of them were talking, Juju slowly revealed half of his body from the sturdy tree. He was now almost the same color as the trees, and no one found him at all. With the dark night, Juju quietly watched the Kakashi people who had already fled from here. At the same time, he was still in the midst of the magic dragon and 9 seals. He opened his eyes and looked at Pain and said, "Pain, there are people around us. Have you been followed?" When Sasori of the Red Sand heard it, he opened his eyes somewhat surprised. It seems that the measures he left behind before have not been hidden from their eyes. It is indeed from Sunagaku village. He nodded and replied slowly. However, before everyone could speak again, he continued, and the guys from Konoha village are also there, and they're all pretty good experts. I think they're here to help Sunagaku village. Master of Konoha village. Pain Heavenly Path slowly opened his eyes and looked towards Ju. Well, it's Konoha's copy ninja Kakashi, and Byakugan Hyuga Neji. Kakashi, Hyuga Neji. Pain Heavenly Path has obviously heard about both of them. That's right, that Byakugan Hyuga Neji, but Konoha's 5th Hokage disciple, has been by his side since he was a child, and his strength cannot be ignored. His head, Ju reminded loudly, and that QB 9 Tails kid, he seems to be with him too. QB 9 Tails. Pain Heavenly Path smiled lightly and seemed a little surprised. I can't believe that the 5th Hokage of Konoha would dare to send Jinchuriki column forces to deal with us. Use that technique. Pain Heavenly Path said softly. For the current situation, they will take a while. So don't allow anyone to disturb you. Philo reminds you, and LT, otherwise you will be banned from collecting IP, and GT. Chapter 538. Sunagaku squad attacked. Boss, then let me go. The shadow that belonged to Hidan, he looked at Pain Heavenly Path and said, there has never been anyone Jinchuriki column forced to catch, I am so suffocated and uncomfortable. Alright, then it's up to you and Zhao, this group to go. As soon as Hidan finished speaking, Pain Heavenly Path nodded. Now it is slow to use the magic dragon 9 seals, and it is really impossible to draw more people. The ability of the two is here, sending them to kill those. Those who come, are also a good choice. Bloody March sighed. Boom. A huge sound of vibration spread through the jungle, only to see a cloud of smoke rising in front of everyone in Kakashi. Damn it. Who is it? A group of ninjas in Sunagaku village cursed, all biting on Kiba and looking forward. If they were slow to react just now, they would have died here. Ah, it was actually avoided. Hidan, who was wearing a black auspicious cloud robe, walked out slowly in the smoke with 3 scythes in his hand. When he appeared as a whole, the sickle in his hand directly resisted on his shoulder, and he immediately showed a bloodthirsty smile and looked at everyone. It's Akatsuki's man. Kakashi frowned, his whole body tense. It seems that Parker's information is correct, and Gaara must have been brought here. This Akatsuki member has appeared, it is obvious that he wants to stop them from moving forward. Quickly kill him. They're probably going to attack Gaara. The elite ninjas of Sunagaku village here are also immediately said. Kakashi just thought of it, and they thought of it too. Since Akatsuki's people are here, it means they are heading in the right direction. Because of this, all the ninjas in Sunagaku village quickly use the telekinesis technique to kill Hidan in front of him. Doden, Earth Style, Earth Dragon Bullet. Futon, Wind Style, Tornado Hurricane Technique. Hand seal with both hands, each other immediately. Started to unleash ninjutsu. The people in Sunagakure village were already very anxious. When they knew that Gaara might be in front of them, they didn't hold back and immediately. They brought out their strongest state and prepared to quickly end this meaningless battle. Neji, Naruto, Sakura, get ready for action. Kakashi took out his kunai and gestured to the three behind him. Yes. Hyuga Neji was already ready at this time. Now he was trained by Gong Yi since childhood. Naturally terrifying. It's only been a few years since he was famous on the ninja world continent. If it wasn't for his young age and lack of talent, Kakashi wouldn't have the chance to direct him. Because now Hyuga Neji's power has completely surpassed him. Neji, who was taught by Gong Yi, has a hard time encountering enemies on the ninja continent. Even for the Akatsuki members in front of him, it is difficult to threaten him. Byakugan open. As soon as he stepped forward and jumped out, Hyuga Neji's eyes immediately surrounded. Bruises popped out. For the enemy of Akatsuki in front of him, he did not take it lightly. Having been with Gong Yi for a long time, although he has not experienced much, he has received a lot of education. He didn't underestimate the enemy in front of him. No. They're not just alone. At this moment, when Hyuga Neji just opened his eyes, his expression immediately a change. As one of the three major pupil techniques, Byakugan has a 360-degree perspective, and its terrifying insight far exceeds that of Sharingan. Despite Neji as a branch, Byakugan has a visual blind spot that spreads backwards from the spine. He could still clearly discover the hidden enemies for several kilometers. Revolving heaven. Cadence, fire style, hard work. Almost in unison, Hyuga Neji's voice just fell, and a piece of fire has appeared on his side, which is directly swallowing him. At this time, Neji's chakra also burst out suddenly, and his whole person spun like a top. Blue chakra energy appears in the chakra points in his body. Around him, a semicircular chakra protective cover quickly formed. As the family heritage of the Hyuga family, ninjutsu has been improved by Gong Yi. When a piece of flame touched it, it immediately collapsed and became a spark that can rebound all physical attacks. After passing through Gong Yi's hand, not all ninjutsu can be touched. Although this sudden burst of flames was powerful, it was unable to penetrate or suppress Neji's revolving heaven defenses at all. Almost everyone didn't react. Hyuga Neji's place has long since become a vacuum. The entire ground has become a deep pit, and this deadly flame has been completely disintegrated and spread to both sides. Damn, are they two people? At this time, Kakashi and all the ninjas from Sunagakure village sank in their hearts. If it weren't for Hyuga Neji, none of them would have found the second Akatsuki member hiding in the dark. Now everyone is more afraid. If the flames attacked first, not Neji, but them, no one would be afraid. None of them have this ability to react, and have such a defensive ninjutsu that can be quickly created to resist it. On Kakashi's side, when they were already fighting, Gong Yi had come to the outside of the cave of this Akatsuki stronghold. Oh, it's already started. He quietly looked forward, as if he could clearly perceive it. Although Gong Yi was standing here like this, everyone in the cave didn't even notice it. Who was still in charge of reconnaissance on the periphery, found Kakashi and the others, but he didn't sense Gong Yi's arrival at all. There was no such person in the whole surrounding. Gong Yi, who possesses the fourth seed of divine consciousness, is in addition to terrifying perception. What's more, he can hide himself perfectly, and he won't reveal any power at all to be discovered by others. At this moment, the terrifying chakra power of the whole person has long since been restrained. Akatsuki's actions are really fast now. Words fell, Gong Yi dodged and left here, and when he reappeared, he had come to a hidden location. Although he did not enter the cave, he could clearly know everything inside. Gaara, the tail in his body is being absorbed by Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Well, when the entire Aikyo Shukaku leaves Gaara completely, it means he will die. Human Jinchuriki column force is deprived of the tailed beast, and it is impossible to survive. So, now when the dust settles, Gaara's little life will be gone. Despite this, Gangyi was not in a hurry, but was quietly waiting. What he is waiting for now is naturally the next time. Chapter 539. Neji Sasori, 2nd. Raiden, Thunder Style, False Darkness. Futon, Wind Style, Oppressed. Suiten, Water Style, Water Curtain. At this time, Hyuga Neji discovered the corner. He also stepped out. A few black mask monsters dancing behind him, constantly releasing terrifying ninjutsu from their mouths and bodies. While Hidan took advantage of the outbreak of ninjutsu, he used his immortality to hold a 3-stage scythe, and he continued to rampage. Any ninja he touches will never have a good end, all of them will be disemboweled. This will be kung fu. Although the ninjas of Sunagakure village are the elite of the entire team, they have also died. Here in Kakashi, although he is also a bit troublesome, he is not as miserable as they are. Everyone in Konoha village, let's stop here. An instant technique left the battlefield. Jonin, who is in charge of the Sunagakure elite team here, looked at Kakashi and said with a serious face, "The matter of saving Gaara is up to you." Well, delaying time like this now is really just a meaningless waste. Kakashi nodded, but did not refuse. Now Akatsuki only has 2 people, but they are holding back dozens of people on their side, and this waste of time will only increase the failure rate of the mission. Thinking of these simple instructions, Kakashi immediately call Hyuga Neji and Sakura trio back 3, then face to the side immediately. Left. Want to go? Jiao. They all frowned and looked at Kakashi and the others who were about to leave. Kaden, Fire Style, Head Hard. One of the masked black monsters behind him, it immediately. He opened his mouth and spit out pieces of flame. Doden, Earth Style, Earth Flow Wall Technique. Doden, Earth Style, Earth Flow Wall Technique. Seeing the flames like a tsunami, they rushed towards Kakashi and the others, and several Sunagakure village ninjas immediately. Dodge stopped behind them. Hand seal with both hands and press down. There was a rumbling sound, and several towering Doden, Earth-style, walls slowly rose up and stopped here. Speed is not slow. With the delay of the group of ninjas in Sunagakure village, Kakashi and others have disappeared. According to Parker's previous information, they were about to reach the location of the cave. It seems that the situation is not very good. The Copy Ninja Kakashi team of Konoha village has left the corner. They are intercepted. Ju opened his eyes again, looked at Pain Heavenly Path as if he was feeling it, and reported helplessly. Gangyi has never found it. Kakashi has been unable to escape his surveillance. Looks like it's going to be difficult to be safe this time. When Pain Heavenly Path heard Ju finished speaking, his eyes slowly opened at the same time. Although this kind of thing made people a little mad and angry, his appearance was still incomparable. It seems that he doesn't care about this situation at all. Forget it, since it's my fault. Well, I'll go out now and stop him and kill him. Sasori of the Red Sand spoke lightly, saying that he put down his hands and released the spell. Boom. Neji is sent. It seems to make this battle a lot more fun. Gangyi was in the dark, looking towards Hyuga Neji with a smile on his face. The battlefield at this moment has turned into a confrontation between Neji and Sasori of the Red Sand. Kakashi and Naruto, they can only watch, and can't interfere at all. The Sasori of the Red Sand at this meeting, under the suppression of Neji's taijutsu, has long exposed his true body. The sturdy Fei Liuhu has been shattered into countless pieces. But Neji's strength is very strong, but Sasori of the Red Sand's puppet technique is indeed well deserved. At the beginning, Gangyi even had a brief fight with him. In the entire ninja world, it has to be said that Sasori of the Red Sand is very capable. The Reign of Sand and Iron. Sasori of the Red Sand is behind, the puppet who controls the 3 generations of Cage, distanced from Hyuga Neji. Now he naturally knows that Hyuganeji's body technique is very terrifying, and if he gets close to him, he will hardly have an advantage. Was a hum, and in an instant, a small black spot started to appear behind Sasori of the red sand. That's a special iron sand substance. Hihi, Keke Genkai Jiden, magnet style, of the third generation of Kazekage. Looking up, Gong Yi's face. Rong revealed a sneer and murmured to himself. Jiden, magnet style, of the 3 generations of Kazekage, Gong Yi has naturally studied it. Basically, his Keke Genkai should not be as powerful as the 4th generation Kazekage. However, the ability to freely control things that contain iron, as well as the iron in the sand, is still very powerful. The 3 generations of Kazekage, with his special physique, can even convert highly condensed chakras into magnetism. And this sand iron is a technique that combines the ninjutsu of the former Shukaku people's Jinchuriki, column power with the special attribute of its own magnetic chakra, which can be changed into various forms for attack and defense at will. The sand iron made by the original 3 generations of Kazekage is the most terrible weapon in the entire Sunagakur village. Because once it invades the human body, it can completely paralyze it and destroy the fragile organs. In addition, because the 3rd generation of Kazekage chakra has a magnetic force in his body, ordinary magnetic weapons cannot cause damage or influence to him. With such terrifying abilities, the Sunagakur village where he was at that time was very powerful. And he has won the title of the strongest Kazekage in history. Suppressing his thoughts, Gong Yi shook his head in confusion. It was such a guy, Gong Yi really couldn't imagine how the Sasori of the red sand could make him a puppet so smoothly at first. He couldn't understand it at first, and he couldn't imagine it now either. Gong Yi doesn't believe in the various theories rumored in the previous life. The skinny camel is bigger than a horse, and no matter how weak he is, Kazekage of the 3rd generation cannot be so easily refined into a puppet. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, a huge sound came out. I saw Sasori of the red sand wave a big hand, and countless sand and iron in the sky bombarded Hyuga Neji. The humming sound of breaking the sky kept coming, and they roared and drowned Hyuga Neji completely. On the water where Neji was standing now, countless waves had been stirred up, and the cliffs behind had collapsed inch by inch and there were countless cracks. It can be clearly seen that the power of this sand and iron condensed attack is still very terrifying. Revolving Heaven. Seeing this attack, Kimimaro didn't dare to be careless, and also started to release his strongest defensive ninjutsu. Oh, looks like it's almost there. As Sasori of the red sand's battle with Hyuga Neji continued to escalate, Gong Yi turned his head and looked over to the cave. The smile on his face did not diminish, and the whole person disappeared. Chapter 540, Gong Yi's Intervention. Iron Sand World Method. Collide 2 high-density sand iron blocks with opposite magnetic fields, and increase the magnetic force in one go. Seeing that Hyuga Neji's revolving heaven defense is hard to shake, Sasori of the red sand wields the power of Jiden magnet style with 3 generations of Kazekage above. As the magnetic field repulsion around the 3rd generation Kazekage increases, after infinitely spreading to the periphery, the entire sky is covered with cone-shaped iron sand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, after they formed, they kept falling from the air and started shooting in a large area. Because the track of the iron sand branch is irregularly spread, it is difficult to see the coming trend. And all these sand irons are highly poisonous. Even if they are accidentally touched, it will be a fatal blow. The dense iron sand slams. Even if the first attack is successfully avoided, it is difficult to leave to avoid the second attack for the surroundings that have lost their way of retreat. This is a terrible ninjutsu with 2 or 3 traps added, making it difficult to defend against. But even so, apparently after unleashing such an attack, Sasori of the red sand didn't stop at all. His eyes showed endless killing intent, and he wanted to give Hyuga Neji a real fatal blow. The time has been delayed for too long, and he has gradually lost his patience. Besides, this skill, Hyuga Neji's taijutsu, is too great a threat to him. Looking around, there are countless fragments above the entire water surface. The puppets he collected and made before have been basically destroyed by him. There is no puppet able to survive in his hands. Basically, if you are touched by his terrifying physical skills, you will inevitably be destroyed. Even now, if he is directly touched by his taijutsu, then he is likely to die. Konoha's 5 generations of Hokage, his disciples are really scary. Sasori of the Red Sand bit Kiba and secretly said, I have to say that Kimimaro, who is trained by Gong Yi since childhood, has reached a state of perfection in his physical skills. After all, from the beginning, his taijutsu was taught by Gong Yi himself and sculpted using his own experience. Not an ordinary taijutsu ninja at all, it can be compared. Now Sasori of the Red Sand, when the two actually fought each other, he's starting to realize it too. That's why he didn't choose close combat with Hyuga Neji at all, but kept pulling away. Iron Sand is 10,000 strikes. Half a second of thoughts quickly recovered, Sasori of the Red Sand immediately. Shoot again. The rumbling sound continued to appear, the whole earth began to shatter, and the countless ingredients containing sand in it all trembled. An instant, countless black iron sand was decomposed and extracted. Next second, these sand and iron all condensed above Hyuga Neji's head. They were like dark clouds covering the sky, making people feel heavy. In just a short while, I don't know how much iron sand appeared above, and they had formed an iron sand formation in the shape of a sharp knife. Hula. Sasori of the Red Sand's face was cold, and he shook his hand, and the countless iron sand blades above shot towards Hyuga Neji. Go. The double iron sand compound attack, even if it was Neji, he was really tired of dealing with it. Because of Sasori of the Red Sand's attack, it has already started to intensify, and seems to want to kill Hyuga Neji quickly. Neji. Watching the continuous terrorist attack from Sasori of the Red Sand, Naruto, who was standing outside, turned pale immediately. Drink. Quick, I can't keep letting him go on like this. Kakashi looked equally bad, immediately. Hand seal with both hands, trying to turn Sasori of the Red Sand's attention to himself. Hyuga Neji is Gong Yi's disciple, and now if something happens to him in his team, he can't face Hokage. In the dark cave, it is very quiet. The huge Geto-Mazo demonic statue of the outer path stands here, and Pain and the others are standing on its fingers with their eyes closed, casting the magic 9 dragon ban. I saw that it has been 2.5 days now, and the power of Shukaku in Gaara's body has been absorbed by Geto-Mazo demonic statue of the outer path for nearly half. It can be clearly seen that the 9 eyes that Geto-Mazo demonic statue of the outer path had closed before have begun to slowly open a few. There are bloodshots all over it, and the eyeballs inside it constantly scan the surroundings. And the others are still there, closed eyes, which are trying to open as the tailed beast in Gaara continues to enter its mouth. Hey hey hey, Sasori-senpai, he seems to be calling in. Hearing the loud rumbling outside, Ah-Fei, who was standing on one of his fingers, opened his eyes to look at Pain and said, would you like me to go out and help too? No need. Pain Heavenly Path was a little unhappy. He looked at Ah-Fei and seemed to have a deep meaning and said, enough people have left. If we continue like this, we may not be able to completely separate the tailed beast from the human Jinchuriki column force within 5 days. Okay. Hearing Pain's tone a little cold, Ah-Fei shrugged helplessly. This power. At this moment, Ju, who had been silent all this time, suddenly opened his eyes. It could be seen that there was a hint of panic on his indifferent face just now. Head sideways, he didn't even wait. Pain spoke again, he immediately said, I feel like there is. Before the words of Ju were finished, a figure flashed over. Speed is so fast that Pain has not even thought about this sentence in his brain. Fast that everyone has no idea what's going on. I saw a figure, and he suddenly appeared in the sky above Gaara. Someone invaded Pain Heavenly Path pair of renegades stared, looking forward. At this time, the rest of the shadows standing here also opened their eyes. I saw that before they noticed, Gong Yi had come here. Long before returning Gaara to the village of Sunagakur, he left a hidden mark of Hiraishin on her body. As long as he wanted to, he could teleport instantly and come to Gaara's side. 5 generations of Hokage, it's you. How is it possible? Damn bastard. When Gong Yi stabilized his body and stood here completely, everyone could see clearly. Of him was a handsome man in a white robe with long black hair tied behind him. He is Hokage Gong Yi, the 5th generation of Konoha village. Everyone's face showed a hint of disbelief. Guy who gave everyone a headache in the ninja continent, he actually appeared here. Everyone present, they are not fools. There was a reaction in all of my mind, he wanted to take Gaara.